somebody is telling you what's right. Now you're going to have to decide what you're gonna do the next step you take in life.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode 6, where we are talking about, actually, we don't have an actual committed thing that we're talking about. Who I have here on the screen are down below. We've got Sam Francis.
What's up?
He was a cadet at the Int Ranch with me, so we are going to be chit-chatting with cadets here. And other than Sarah Seltzer, who you also might have all seen on Aaron's show the other day with us, Sarah Seltzer.
Hello.
And were you ever in the cadet org, Sarah?
I was not.
So Sarah's going to be jumping in here. And while me and Sam chat, and possibly we might have a fourth cadet coming on. And if not, I also might have another special guest. So we'll see. We'll see as we go. We'll see as we flow. So thank you all for being here. This is great. Sam, thank you for being here. Sarah Seltzer, thank you for being here on LFM TV. Hashtag SPTV. So can you guys see the comments here, or is it just me? We can all see them, or what? No.
I can't see the
I can't see comments.
Interesting. I wonder if I would have to change that after, or whatever. We don't have to worry about that. I'll do that at the end. I'm getting used to this thing where we just I scroll at the very end and be like, okay, let's ask. Because a lot of these questions that will be asked throughout while I'm talking, and until I get really good at it, I won't be able to multitask and not just mess up the whole thing and give up in life. So, because as you know, I mean, for me, this is super hard. It's not hard. It's the juice is worth the squeeze. It's it's hard work and you're getting through it, but it's uncomfortable at times. And then there's moments of relief and you feel a little lighter. So it's definitely doing that. These YouTube channel, these episodes. So it's therapeutic for me. I hope it's therapeutic for people watching. It's also therapeutic in the sense that a lot of us cadets were never allowed to talk and speak our minds and chit chat. This is a funny thing I have as the title, chit chat, because there would be a lot of hey, stop the chit chat and get back to work. There's a lot of chit chatting going on here, guys. Come on. So cadets chit chatting is it's almost out ethics, sort of look at the cadets are chit chatting. So here we are chit chatting. And we can, we'll go at our flow. But I feel like it would be good to give the audience and the people watching, the people watching, even if they're in Scientology still, or they were, or they're still in the Sea Org. That's very rare that Sea Org members, but you never know. We'll be watching the YouTube channels. But we can even start talking about that right there. So instead of, in terms of because at the ranch, we didn't have, at the Int Ranch, the cadets and stuff, we didn't have a lot of movies, let alone television. We weren't allowed to be having just television, out in all our rooms or whatever it is. There's no television, right? Sam, you've never had any television in the cadet org?
Well, I feel like they had some exceptions for that Cats show that we used to watch. It was a live performance.
You are so many Cats. It's called Cats,
yeah.
And it's the theater. It's the what is that called? The show Cats. Yeah,
Broadway or something.
That's what maybe. I was trying to think. Musical. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah,
wow,
and also the Irish folk dancing. What was that?
Oh my goodness, River Dance, Lord of the Dance.
Yeah.
Sarah, what about you? What were your little young sort of random things that Scientology somehow may have put you into, and then you got sort of obsessed with it?
Honestly, no. Nah. See, not being in the ranch, I didn't have, I didn't have those limitations. But when you did talk about even just like the inability to talk, though, being in the Sea Org and being on the EPF especially, which I was on for 6 months rather than, it's like, yeah, I remember it was like you can't learn about anybody. But I don't think I had any weird things that came up with like shows, yeah, or anything like that, like for me. Just not being a
I would
rancher.
say other than, were you more of like a book reader?
I was a big book reader. Yeah.
Okay, I was
going to
say, because I felt like everybody finds sorry, me and Sarah are close, by the way, y'all watching and listening, so you can.
I am in her
hear.
closet.
Pervert, Sarah Seltzer, get out of my closet.
But I like it in here. Yeah, and my son is here too. So if everyone sees a little like head pop in here, and he's wearing his goldenrod as well. So
yes, he's a little cutie pie SP. So, but I was trying to ask, for me and Sam, it was like our excitement, not our excitement, but sort of, I guess, reading a book in your world would be like a fantasy, kind of, you go into your fantasy mind, right? So it's like, kids nowadays are watching all kinds of things on the internet, like shows and whatever, and cartoons and block games and whatever, like Minecraft games, and none of that ever. No computers, no TV. And the award would be like, to be able to watch a movie was an award. To watch the Cats film, I do remember they let the Cats film be eventually like a research project, so that people, I don't really know why, but they
That
did,
was
so
the
that
loophole.
it was the loophole. Sarah's laughing with her mic muted, which is very cute. But that was like, it was an exciting, fun course to do, right? If you can go watch a movie, even if it was Cats, or even if it was the L. Ron Hubbard qualified Scientologist interview. Mr. Hitchman, remember that? Mr. Hitchman, many millions of words have been said and written about Scientology, but many doubt in many people's minds as to exactly what it is. What is Scientology, and how would you describe it? Well, Mr. Hitchman, you've just asked a question like, what are the contents of the Encyclopedia Britannica, answered in one word. Well, Mr. Hubbard, it seems like a very wide-ranging subject, and if you can't describe it overall, perhaps we'll begin at the beginning. How did you get into Scientology? How did it all start? Well, that's fairly easy. Isn't this gross? It's just stuck in my brain. It's
all
the same
so in there.
What's that?
Was that the interview he had?
That's just because I was made to clear all my misunderstood words. They were like, oh, the reason she's blowing all the time is because she can't finish the HQS course because she has misunderstood words on the interview on the video. So I had to watch the video, which us, we'd be sleeping on the door or something, like anything to get away with anything would be great.
Yeah.
Well, so when you started talking about that, though, one thing it did remind me of, and I did this even when I went, because I was like a mission kid, so I'd be like stuck in the mission, just like doing whatever, for a long time. But especially when I was in the Sea Org, the way that I would try to sneak time I'd actually go into the videos to try to like disappear to like watch something. I do remember that now. Like I actually did like sneak. That was my screen time, right?
See,
that I'd be sneaking.
That's what I was trying to like pull up with you, because so even if you're not in the cadet org, which we will, us cadets, we are, even when I see Sarah, I think of her as a cadet. When I see Sam, I'm like, like these three here are like my lifelong friends. These are friends that I will have for the rest of my life. And I know that for both of them as well. So it's just really cool that like, I feel like as cadets, we are out on this side, and the freedom to be able to speak about whatever we want, even if it's funny, even if it was abusive, even if it was really hard work, the fact that we can talk about it from a different view and from the adult view, looking now and saying, oh my God, like, fine, we'll joke about it here and there, but the reality is it's very therapeutic, because it's looking back at a time when something was either very hard and strenuous and we had to like have a reason to cope with it, and now we're laughing about it because look at us, we're in this free world. And so this is just super special right away, right now. But the thing with Sarah is I feel like when I had left the Sea Org, I got to know you because you were friends with multiple other cadets that I had either gotten to know or already knew them from being at the Int Ranch Cadet Org. So I definitely have always thought that Sarah was definitely in the cadet family for sure. Sarah, let's do what Aaron does. I've never done this on my thing, but you know, Aaron's a pro at his SPTV. He's a pro. I was gonna say, why don't you do a little introduction of yourself, like just like how you got into the Scientology world, and then like maybe how you met me and Sam. I know at one point you guys, maybe the art share, you can bring up like whatever, how you kind of trickled in through this, just kind of like a quick lifetime, you know, what do you call that? Life history.
I can absolutely do that. 100%. Yeah, so I got into Scientology as a very small child that I don't really remember. Back in the day, I received auditing, but I didn't really know what Scientology was until I was sent to a Scientology school, and my parents got way more involved at the mission. And then from there, I eventually was recruited to SCIENTOLOGY and went on the FLOEPF. And that was, and I mentioned this with Aaron because I got this really gnarly ethics handling, which, yeah, it was just like I needed to leave my like the ethics handling, you know, you're supposed to be like integrated back into like your family and your community and all that. And if anything, I just felt like, oh no, now I have to get away, but I wanted to do something good. And so, yeah, you know, you think Scientology is the good thing to do, or join the Sea Org. So I joined the Sea Org. I was only there for about 2 years, but FLO EPF to CLO EPF, over to Ashno Day. And I knew I kind of wanted to leave from the beginning because I tried to leave, I think, after like a week or two.
Wait, did you say from the CLO, you went on 2 EPFs?
Yeah, I was on 2 EPFs.
Explain that.
So I was on the FLO EPF to join at SMI originally, and I wanted to leave shortly after I was there, but Ben Monahan wouldn't let me. I reported to the person you're supposed to report to, right? And that was Ben Monahan, and he didn't let me leave. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? Like, where do I go now? Because I'm like, I can't talk to my parents about it, and I didn't want to talk to my recruiters about it. So I ended up.
Can you explain Ben a little bit, like just what his character or whatever was?
Ben Monahan, Aaron really doesn't like him.
I've heard that on a few of his episodes.
I'll explain my relationship with him, which was pretty weird for me, like looking back on it. But he's this big guy. He was pretty young at the time. Really big guy though, like just big bone, big structure. I think he might be even bigger now than he was when I was on the EPF. And yeah, I don't know. He screamed, when I told him I wanted to leave, he screamed at me in the face, threw me up against a wall, and almost threw a chair at me, which he stopped himself from doing. And I actually remember this after sharing this part of it with Aaron, which was he took me for a walk after that. And you know what he did? He bought me donuts. I forgot about that. But you're not supposed to eat sugar on your EPF, like that's like the big, but I realize now.
Do you think he might have caught himself or something? Like being like, oh, whoa. Or
yeah, in a way, I think he was trying to like reconcile the situation or like, make good of it somehow and keep me
like
on
maybe
the
he
EPF.
Lost his TRs a little bit and was like, look, here's some donuts.
Just a little bit. And I was 14. I just turned 14. I was a little tiny thing. And but he still didn't talk to me about like actually leaving. He never got to that point where he was like letting me go. So I tried to stall on my studies like hard. Like I really tried to stall on my studies. And then that wasn't working because I thought, well, they're supposed to kick you off after 3 weeks. If they don't kick you off after 3 weeks, like what? No, that's the policy, right? That's the policy. They kick you off after 3 weeks. Oh yeah, you're muted.
I forgot about that. I forgot that, like, and that was also a thing. You can't just be like hanging out on the EPF. Like they didn't want people to be like starting relationships and getting to know each other. They were just like, get through the EPF and get on a post because you're not going to know this person once you're off the EPF.
100%.
Yeah.
So I was on the EPF, because I was on for so long, actually. Erin Belcastro was a cadet I got really close to. Masha Lenikova, I know she wasn't a cadet for too long.
Sammy, jump in if any of these
Yeah.
names sound familiar or anything, or you're like, oh, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Bell Castro, he's cool. I like him.
Yeah, is he out now actually? That's a good question for me. Like
I'm not sure. I'm not
he
100%
was
sure, which means he might still be in.
okay, because he
I
was
don't
like
know.
a little
I don't know.
brother for me. A
Yeah,
little older brother.
yeah, he was a friend of mine, and nice dude.
Always so nice. Aaron
Yeah.
I
Belcastro
have a
was so
question.
nice.
I have a very bad response to this. I hope I'm wrong, but did he not pass away?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if anybody's in and listening and you know this person, Sarah and Aaron, I would just be prepared for that.
There is another Aaron, I believe his name is, and
okay. There was definitely an Aaron that passed away. And I don't want to say that if it's not. If it is this, I still want to say I want you guys to figure it out.
It might be a different Aaron.
Okay.
But I'm not
okay,
sure.
yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Go ahead, Sarah. So finish.
No.
Yeah, you finish. So Aaron and Sam, jump in if you know, because I want people to relate. Like, oh, how does a cadet from a whole different thing? Then and then Sam will come in and jump and tell on his story how he ended up at all these random bases and stuff like that. How'd you get to gold base, Sam? Like, what the heck? Okay, we'll get to that.
That is crazy, and I do want to hear that. Well, that's the thing though. Even with Aaron Belcastro, like, I don't think he wanted to be there. Like, he wasn't like finishing either. Like, him and I were on for a long time. Masha, I'm pretty sure, didn't want to be there either. Her father was off doing the Russian audio recordings of LARA. And he was working like around the clock. At least that was like what I heard. And I met him briefly. I think he did do the FLOEPF, but they pushed him through so fast. It was like he was barely there. He was like gone like that. Like,
where did he you just said something and I was gonna ask you, what did you say right before that?
Masha's dad, he did the recordings of LRH, the Russian.
Where did he do that? Where was he located when he was
recording? Actually, well,
was it gold base? No,
it must have been gold. I mean, he was in LA. I
don't know. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, nowhere else do they do these kinds of things except for at gold base, and they can call it, whatever they call it, office of author special effect or whatever, and there's a unit that only does the typing of L. Ron Hubbard. So, but they're all located at gold base. Let's be clear about this, guys. Int base has all the levels of the Scientology organization board: RTC, WDC, CMO, CW. I mean CMO and CMO Gold. So there's all the levels of Scientology, and the headquarters of all the executives is at the gold base. So yeah, I just want to be clear about that. So when people are talking about anything, the gold base it's not just gold. It's not the level of gold, because gold is actually a pretty low level compared to RTC and stuff like that. But RTC headquarters are at the gold base. In case any of y'all watching are like, oh, she just clarified the world to me. Okay, continue, my sweet angel.
Yeah, well, I do think it has to be where he was recording it, only because I remember he would come and visit Masha, or he came and visited Masha at ASHO at one point.
When you say came to visit, maybe he's doing this in some bridge author services or something. I don't know. But other than that, it seems like it would come from Int base. But whatever. Okay, yeah. Continue. So here you are on your post in life.
Here I am. I'm at the FLOEPF, and I'm trying to get myself kicked off. And so then I try another tactic, which is I try to fail my test for my course. So I go through my course really fast and get it done, and like bomb the test, like intentionally, like, but with just enough right that it's like, I read it, or, like I tried or something. But of course, no, they still didn't kick me off, which was like, okay, which, I have a side story about that too. I had really two interesting experiences in the Sea Org that I haven't shared with that many people, around past life stuff, honestly, which I know a lot of people who got out of the Sea, or not even just out of the Sea Org, but either got out of the Sea Org or are no longer Scientologists, just have like, it's like they anything that Scientology taught them, they just like it's like, nope, not true, like it's nothing of it, like I don't want to hear it. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong either. It's just an interesting side story, but I'm going to stay on topic. I'm going to stay on it. Okay. So I'm here. So anyway, they didn't kick me off. So finally I told Ben Monahan that, some stuff that would, I thought, get me kicked off the EPF about what I did when I was younger. Right. I mean, I could say, which was,
That's funny. Sarah's right next door, so she can hear me. But the microphone even said, "You are muted." I was like, "Don't yell at me." And I was like, "Oh wait, I am."
You are muted.
I was like, Sarah can hear me. Shit. What did I say?
So I was just gonna say. Oh, so I'll say it. You were asking if I could say it.
Oh. I don't want to be. If you want to say it, it's fine. I was just saying.
No, if anything, I really, I'm, being able to practice being really vulnerable and open and just trust that, and trust what it means and trust where I know where I am and who I am today versus where I was then, which is, so back then I told them that I tried to kill myself before I got on the EPF, which I didn't disclose, in my EPF route-on form. And so then instead of kicking me off the EPF, they demoted me and put me on the CLO EPF. So then here I am. Okay, I'm still on the EPF.
That's how you got from one EPF to the other. They were just like, all right, swapped over there. Okay, yep. So you do the EPF and then you're in this, where were you in the Sea Org the most, I guess I would say?
Asho Day. I was only at Asho Day. I got transferred to AO for like a day and then got in really big trouble about it. But yeah, aside from that.
What was the trouble?
I don't know. Somebody, I don't even know what happened. Somebody came and got me and said they were doing a swap. And I even got like an AO uniform and they were going to train me to be like an auditor or something. And then Asha people came and got me and said, no. And I forget if it was Asha people who brought me or what happened, but they were like, no, you're not supposed to do. Oh, it was Melissa Palzer. She got pissed off because she was my senior. And I was really happy to not be in that office anymore. So I was like, cool, you guys are swapping me out. Okay, whatever. I'm out of Tech Colin. This is way better than where I was. So yeah, so I got in big trouble because I wasn't supposed to be swapped over. But yeah, Asha Day is where I spent the majority.
And then you said you ran for the CSs or something? You did something like that for the case supervisors?
Yeah, and so I asked them to leave at one point, and and I wanted them to put me on decks because I just wanted out of Tech Colin. I really wanted. Woo! Again, actually, I said I was having suicidal thoughts at that point, which it was like being there was soup, it was terrible. And so again, instead of putting me on decks or doing anything, they just let me be there. And finally I was like, okay, I want to leave. And then eventually they put me in a post that was the CS assistant. And I just had free reign, which was pretty cool. I wore Converse and had my Dickie pants and my polo, and I just ran around and I didn't even have to be at muster in the morning. I just they practically just let me go for it. And yeah, I think it was an attempt to keep me there, honestly.
Oh, it definitely was. They did this a bunch to me where they put you on a post and finally, Sam knows this. Sam was on Route Out Lines with me, right?
That's right.
You do that. So it's literally just they will have you do gruesome, really disgusting, horrible work. And once you finally get over missing the fact that all the kids that you ever grew up with anyways are in the Sea Org and they're all on post and they're all missing you and trying to be like, what are you doing? Come on, man, stay. And then, for example, for me, I got a letter from my brother who I hadn't talked to, and he was at Gold, and he wrote me a letter that convinced me to finally stay. So then I get back, and then he left the Sea Org. He wrote that letter to get me to stay so that they would approve him to leave, or it's so fucking stupid. So they purposely do this. And so finally, when you are on a post, you feel like you're doing well at and stuff like that. You think, oh, I don't want to leave. I really did have overts and I don't want to kill myself anymore. But it's really, you're not being freaking abused and mentally kept in captivated areas where you're not allowed to leave.
How many times did you do the route outlines?
3. Me or Sarah?
You.
I did them 3 times. I feel
Me
like I
too.
did it like 4 or 5 times, but maybe the other 2 were short enough to not call them route outlines. Like route outlines, just for y'all leaving, there's a route. I mean, listening, leaving. If y'all are leaving, here's also what route outlines are. Go to the ethics officer and tell them you want to leave and get the leaving the Sea Org routing mark. Excuse me. Sam's such. Oh, you could hear it on Sarah's. That was funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
Hey, we're putting this together, all right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the intention there is to keep you feeling like you're doing bad on this, and you're finally okay. This is a post I can do, and you forget about wanting to leave. It's just a distraction of yourself. It's a distraction.
Well, and it's like the security officers end up like becoming your best friend too, right? They like get really chummy with you, and they're just like coming to check on you, and right? Like, did you have that experience, both of you?
I don't know about
Sam,
that.
you go ahead. Yeah, no, I was gonna say they weren't checking on us. They were
my
like,
experiences. They're
get
looking,
to work now,
looking at, yeah, like making sure you're
not having fun.
Yeah, and that you're not going where you're not supposed to go. Because for me, I was on route outlines 3 times, and I remember the time that I was on with you.
Was that near? That was kind of near the end.
I think that was when you ended up leaving.
Yeah, I definitely felt like Sam is gonna get recovered. That's what we used to say. I was like, Sam's gonna get recovered. He's not. And I promised myself I was not doing this again. I told myself, I was like, yourself, Megan, if you really want to leave and you leave and you go in the outside world and it really is horrible and I'm not doing good, I was like, they'll bring me back. I was like, I can fucking fix whatever I need to do my conditions and come back. They will gladly take me back. I just knew that they would. I was like, I could be a good Sea Org member, and then I'll just know, like, good, I don't want to be in that world. I'm back in. I'm 100%. So I definitely gave myself the option. Like, if I want to come back, I know that there are A to E steps, or if I was declared. But I thought, because at the time I thought I was getting declared. I thought they were going to declare me because they kept threatening that. So I just well, I'll just do the stuff I need to do to come back if I really am like dying and doing horrible out in this world.
Were you on a non-interbulation order?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. My first 2 times I went on route outlines, I was put on a non-interbulation order. And the second time, I remember the security guard, Spencer, like was really like pushing it, like, you're not going to be able to see your family. You're muted, I think.
Yeah. So Spencer Lowry and Marlon Holt.
Wait, can I ask you guys, where was this? Is it Clearwater?
Yeah, Clearwater.
Yeah.
Okay, you were both at Clearwater when you were routing out. Okay, yeah, so that's a different vibe too. You realize it's just different vibe.
But so Sarah, when you were leaving, let's just bounce really quick. When you were leaving, did you was there any point on the route out system where somebody was either very rude and strict with you, or were they very nice and just letting you do what you want?
So I mean, the security officer was pretty strict. It would go. That's the thing. I felt like it kind of went in these little waves with him, where it was like scary. They were scary. The security officers were always kind of scary, especially I feel like when you're a kid. Like how old were both of you when you were routing out?
I was 17, and my mom and Marlon Holt. He's so brutal, both of them. But anyways, he basically was like. Basically, I started walking off. I started leaving the QI, the quality, and what the opposite that is. But I just started like kind of being like, all right, if I have to do something to get declared at this point, I'm not going to do anything against Scientology. I was just like, I guess I'm going to get another report written on me because they were doing anything to make me afraid and want to either come back. That was it. They didn't know what the fuck to do with me. They didn't want me to go to any aunts. They didn't want me to go to any. No, they were just like, she knows too much. She's a little kid full of only Scientology brain. Where are we going to send her off? And her parents are executives at the Gold Base. They're not going to have time for this. So basically they just got super fucking fucked. And Marlon at one point was like on the phone with me at the QI on the security phone, like, you know, the only reason you're not declared an SP is because you're a minor. And I was like, oh, he said, you're a minor and your parents are executives and they happen to be responsible for you. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what he meant. I was like, what's a minor? I don't know what a minor is. So this gives you an idea about how the unawareness and no knowledge of the law from the inside. When you're inside, you have no knowledge and no need for the law on the outside.
So wait, I want to know for both of you how you both got non-interbulation orders. Like, why would you get a non-interbulation order?
It's one of the last things they do. I mean, I'm sure they have an excuse for both of us, but it's one of the last things they do before you leave the Sea Org, or if you're on RADAT line, so that they can keep you in line until you either leave or you go back into the Sea Org. So they can, yeah, they do it because then if you get another report, you're being threatened, I'm going to get declared. So it makes you kind of not go off and start going to the movie theaters and not giving a fuck if security's watching you or not. Like,
right, because I know you're on a non-interb order, right? Yeah, in general, when you're ratting out, like you're not supposed to talk to people, right? Is that what you mean?
Right,
sorry,
but
Sam.
no, that's okay. The threat of being declared is like that you're not going to be able to talk to your whole family or any of your friends, you know. So
right, no, you know, I jive with that. Sorry.
No, my apologies. I'll shut up after this. They'll do that.
No, Sam. Sarah and Sam. This is also for the 1,400 people, whoever's watching, and the people who watch this later to get an idea of the cadets. There's no outlets for y'all listening, and for us. There's no outlets for cadets and children of Scientology to speak their minds. There's none. We are the only ones doing it. Like the channels on the YouTubes and Growing Up in Scientology and Degraded Daughters, like all these channels we're the only, within the last 3-5 years, this is the only time we finally had a platform where our voices and our stories are actually being told. So let's go back to, let's go back. You don't ever say sorry, Sam, and we're going to interrupt you and we're going to have you here as long as you want. But yeah, go ahead. So tell your I said my thing about the non-interb and us trying to leave. That's what they put on me, is that I wasn't 18 yet. And so right now it made me realize they were waiting for me to be on ethics lines until I was 18. But because I started to create interbulation by walking off and going to the movie theaters right down the street, other cadets, other Sea Org members were seeing it. And then they started like, oh, why does Megan get to go to? And so then they were like, get her out of here, because other people were wanting to leave. Once they saw that, I was like, I don't give a fuck. They were like, you're a bad influence. Oh, that's another thing. Marlon Holt told me I'm an opinion leader, an OL. And I was like, thank you. So I'm a minor and I'm an opinion leader and I can't be declared. Okay, good. Well, then I know they're going to have to ship me off soon, or this is just going to get wild. Yeah,
was mine. I was so jealous when you left. I was like, damn.
Oh, shit. Were you back on the EPF?
Well, the first time.
Or were you still on RADAT lines?
I did go to EPF Category B, or Cat B, as they say.
But I did that, I think twice. And then the third time I was like, you're not going back. Like, only forward from here. Even in the van when Star, the Dur-INR, was with me in the van to the airport, I was like, am I actually leaving? Yeah. And I was like, I bet you I'm going to wake up and this is going to be a dream. And I'm going to be going in to get sec checked.
I have had those dreams, you know, because I watched like your part of the first episode, then the full second and most of the third, you know, because I only recently found out that you were doing this, you know, live. And but oh damn, now I almost forgot. After I had left the Sea Org, I would, you know, have dreams where I was like back in it, and they were, of course, yeah, like nightmares. You know, it's like, oh no, my worst fear.
Sorry, yeah, I have said this so much. So not Sam, I'm doing these video things and I've been really trying to remove the trauma from my emotions and realize like, all right, I really love my mom and dad. There is a genetic connection. If I got rid of the trauma, you know, if we, I'm sure we can all say this. If our parents came to us and they were like, you know, I left, you know, I'm out, I'm done. Oh, we're going to be like, well, go figure it out. They did do this to us, but now that I'm a healthier person, now that I've gotten a bunch of beautiful therapy, now that I've been singing on the stage and dancing and writing whatever the fuck I want to sing about, and now that it's my life, I also understand the love that I have for my parents and the ancestral kind of like connection, whether Scientology wanted me to never learn that or not. You know what I mean? So in a way, I would love for that to happen. I would love for my mom to be on her last straw and be like, I'm going to hit up. I'm sure I'd be the last person she hits up, but still, again, we're not doing this to attack. We're doing this because we have missed, this was taken from us. We cannot love our parents as much as we want to because they can't be with us because of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's policies. We're not interested in starting an organization or a group against Scientology. We're interested in just getting rid of Scientology. Scientology is a poison that was made to naturally try to be acceptable through children being raised in it and thinking, oh, well, if the kids are doing it, it looks so happy, then everything's fine. This is all purposely done for a reason. Like, and notice you never once hear David Miscavige or Scientology ever come out and say, oh, this is really horrible that these cadets went through all this. Not once do they say like, you know, so-and-so was responsible for this. You know, we've done our own Scientology practitioner, you know, handling this person in our services, you know, never. They're always attacking. You know what I mean? I mean, I know you mean.
They have like these crazy videos that they put out on people. That's pretty disturbing to watch, you know?
But isn't it kind of funny? Like when I haven't watched Valerie.
It is kind of funny.
I was like, this is what they're putting out. This is so dumb and so immature. It literally comes right from David Miscavige. He's so completely unaware and unknowledgeable about the actual internet and the world and life. Like,
wait,
like,
Laura,
you know,
will you take one moment and both, or one of you, explain what these videos are?
They're basically like hit pieces to make someone sound horrible, especially someone that's speaking out. So I know like you've mentioned Aaron. Like he's got something, like it's like the first thing that comes up when you like Google is like a piece.
So these videos, I'll just say it real clear. My mom and people at Goal Base, the people who work on the same videos that they use to, you know, promote, to make commercials or to promote or to put all the events and the things, the pictures up for David Miscavige when he's talking about these same people, whether now at the Goal Base, Mitch used to do these. Have you watched any of the other old videos on growing up in Scientology with Mitch? He was the one of the main directors at Gold. Do you remember a guy named Mitch? He was always, but it does sound a little bit familiar, like, oh, Mitch the director. Anyways, he was a director at Gold who would do all like, you know, like films and stuff, like the tech whatever films, like I don't know if he did that with, but you know what I'm talking about, like how to set up a session.
I know we were involved in some.
And he would be making these videos and saying, oh, he made Ron Miscavige's. So these videos are done and made by Scientology, ordered by David Miscavige to attack anybody who brings the law to Scientology. So the moment the law is involved, you're going to have PIs and everybody attacking you. And, or the moment you're starting to put information out like we are about kids being molested and overworked and abused with no education, neglect of parenting, there's no like emotional connection and being held like a child should be, and closeness and really getting to know what empathy is and love and mistakes and not having to be perfect and correct and right about everything. That's the opposite of Scientology. Scientology will teach you to do the opposite so that you are so hard programmed to be a very strong, dedicated robot like Tom Cruise.
Some of my friends like have been in they used to be my friends like growing up, have been in those videos where they're talking about someone personally that used to be, so they're like selling out their friend. There's also some videos where like a parent is like,
would you care about talking about these friends of yours that are talking bullshit lies in videos of Scientology?
Yeah, I think just the one that I would mention is Diva, and I can refrain from last names, but that's just me.
I won't.
Yeah,
I mean, I will or won't. I won't. Diva is somebody. I've already spoken about Diva a little bit, tiny bit, but Diva is the daughter of Stan Medley. Stan Medley is the person who runs and controls the whole. He runs and controls. I'm just saying he is the father of Dead Sarah. He was the one who pitched the money and gave all the money, and the bass player Susie Medley. So Diva is the adopted daughter of Stan Medley. Diva has parents, I believe, that are in the Sea Org or something, right, Sarah? Maybe you know more a little bit about that now. Okay. Anyways, Diva's adopted by Stan, a very very connected with Scientology, and they're donating money to them and blah, blah, blah. Stan needs to be investigated. I have already said this. Stan needs to be investigated for these opening up these businesses under random people's names, LLCs under. He even was like, right when I started, I opened up an LLC. It was like, there was something fishy going around. Anyways, whatever. We don't need to get into that. Diva is the adopted daughter of Stan. Stan is the one who was holding and putting together and basically taking care of Emily, Susie, and Diva, who are all part of. Diva is just a friend of Emily and Susie, but probably through Stan and all that, they got closer. But they're all part of a band called Dead Sarah, and they're all Scientologists. And if they're not Scientologists, then they literally can't say out loud that they're not without getting in trouble by their parents, who are executives in the Sea Org.
That reminds me, because you mentioned Aaron Belcastro previously. Was that right?
Yeah.
He was in that band.
Yeah. So this is why we should do some investigating. Maybe somebody already commented. I'm going to start.
And that actually,
Sarah, you're muted. But yes, do you see like it's starting to sound, I remember during this time, something was coming up. I don't know what happened. There was some, bad talk about him, and then he was kicked out of Dead Sarah or something.
Oh,
okay. There was something about that. I hope I'm not getting two people mixed up, but
no. I'm gonna the drummer.
End this and start researching.
And I remember now that it's like coming back, like jamming.
Yeah, Aaron was drummed for them a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's super cool.
Yeah, super cool dude.
Good drummer.
Super sweetheart. That really, I don't think he's around, but if he is, man, that would be dope if he was drumming for LARA FM or something, like doing something cool. I hope he's still doing that, but bless his heart if he's not, because he's not around yet. I don't know. We'll look into that soon.
Someone Google it now. I don't know, but yeah, because I know there was another Aaron that did pass, someone that we grew up with, but. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, my bad.
No. So, no bads here. So we were talking just about Dead Sarah and Stan and Diva, and so Diva was very good friends with my friend Catherine Spallino, who wrote. I keep throwing her book out for promotion.
I read it. It was awesome.
You read the book, the whole thing? I haven't gone through it.
My friend,
I'm a bad friend.
my friend Amber bought it for me as a surprise, you know. And I remember when
Amber who?
She's a friend that lives in Portland.
Okay,
So
not
from,
Amber Porter.
Yeah.
I was just see I'm in
No,
cadet
oh yeah,
land.
forgot about.
See?
Yeah, it's crazy all these, because you push a lot of it. I think is naturally pushed out of your mind, you know. And then so
Also, like, why do we need to pay attention to other cadets' names, like in their lives, when we're out in this new world?
yeah, exactly. But then it always.
I mean,
comes
no,
back
I mean, I'm being
to
like,
floodgates,
but
you know,
we're
when
doing it. Like, we are doing it. We are paying attention. Oh, yeah. We don't want to forget about anybody that was at the Int Ranch. Tell me, Sam, do you agree with me? Every single person at the Int Ranch that ever went there, even for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, definitely has issues and stories that they will tell you that would literally be, I mean, shocking, but also just like, how did it end up like this? And some of them are great. Some of them were fun. Like, I mean, Sammy, can we talk about like blowing the ranch, what that was about? Running away from the ranch was kind of like a fun thing to do.
So I guess maybe just to put some context to like even when I got to the Int Ranch.
Oh yeah. So what year did you get there? And Sarah, please jump in. Your intelligent mind and everything has really great questions and stuff. So please jump in. I'm going to start checking on some questions and stuff. But Sam, you go ahead, please. When did you get to the ranch?
I think it was like 98 because I'm pretty sure I was the last kid to show up.
Yeah, you were near the end, like near the end years.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then I was there for just under a year before they recruited us all. I remember we were training for like, I was doing like honor guard training up in the basketball court. So it was like just before Sea Org Day. And then maybe that was part of it. Like they wanted to get us all recruited, you know.
And like already set to the standard of how it should be.
Yeah,
So that's I have two questions for you, Sam. Sorry. One, how old were you? And then also two, you said literally, so they recruited you all at the same time right before Sea Org Day. They like got the bright idea. They're really just going to round up all the cadets and just reel them in and look at how many recruits we have and get our stats up right before Sea Org Day. Is that accurate?
I think it was something more than that. Like they were disbanding the cadets, the cadet orgs, because probably all the heat. You know, I remember Laura and you're one of your
wait. So you when you got to the ranch, the Int Ranch, you already knew that they were doing something to sort of like start breaking down the ranch to move everybody off, or they were dismantling the pack base or the pack ranch or something?
No, it happened all at once. So at the same time, that's why most of us were shipped to Florida. But the ones that weren't qualified to go there, or for some other reasons, they went to PAC. Around that same time, the PAC ranch, I think the PAC ranch stayed around a little longer. There was still some
ethics cadets.
Yeah, but they had done the red shirt TTC before, where my brother and my sister went down, I think. So
okay, so wait, let me jump in right there on that.
Yeah.
At the ranch, at the Int Ranch, they would have the older cadets go to the gold base. So the older cadets, meaning what, probably 14, 15 years old. That would be about an older cadet, right? Because if they were 16 or 17, they would already be like on their way to going to gold without finishing school or whatever, because they're almost 18.
At the Pack Ranch, I feel like there was a couple older kids.
Pack Ranch was totally different. Oh yeah, Pack Ranch was definitely different in terms of that, because the Int Ranch was already prepping and grooming the kids at the Int Ranch to go straight to Gold Base when they're done and go on the EPF at Gold Base. But then they started to realize over the years that these cadets only know everything about L. Ron Hubbard policies, but know nothing about the actual outside organizations in the actual world. So like, we didn't know, like, I mean, it would be there's going to be an episode, and maybe, I mean, let's see. I don't know if Serge would be the one to do this, but I would love to get a perspective of somebody that was already in Clearwater in the Sea Org, and, you know, kind of knew things, and then seeing these cadets coming in and what they thought about, like, kind of like, because we were so drilled and so professional at certain things of Scientology, right? And we knew, we knew it took us really fast to get through the ethics book, which is like a pretty hard course, or the volume 0 on the EPF or whatever. We were like, oh, we've read these policies 1,000 times. And most of them we fucking can we can say verbatim to a wall. You know what I mean? Like, so it was easy for us. Whereas other people just coming in from Scientology public, they were like, oh my God, I have to read these conditions. They didn't know a lower. It was a lot of programming, which also I felt sometimes made that the Scientologist public coming in to join the Sea Org more brainwashed to later get out. These people will be in longer because they didn't have the already born experience in it. So they can't now see a different view of it. They just were like, I was already in the outside world and now I chose to be a part of this group. I think that's a little like I don't know. I
have a question. I feel like that's like kind of around that. That has to do with you're mentioning, ethics cadets, right? And I don't know if you guys know his name, and I don't even know if I have the right name for him. If it's like AJ Wolf or something. Do either of you know who I'm talking about? He was like a tall dude, kind of lanky. You know who I'm talking about?
Kind of a country boy.
I think he was a bit of a country boy.
Or he is now. I think I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. And tall, kind of lanky.
Tall, kind of lanky. So, and the reason I bring him up, he was nice enough, but he ended up on the FLO EPF. And I don't think he wanted to be there. I think he wanted to leave. And I feel like he wanted to leave as soon as, like, he was trying, and he was around 17, so he was older. So I think he was like at that point where they were just trying to keep him in the Sea Org, like kind of like you, Lara. It's like they were like, we got to keep him in, you know. It's like, what else are we going to do except for keep him in? And then, but I got this sense he was just like, you know, like I remember, I think even when it came to like getting stuff done for, you know, our stats on the EPF, I think he kind of just like, whatever, you know, he was very just like, I don't want to be here, and was working his hardest to leave. And I remember like something going on around him. So yeah, so just like maybe you guys can comment on two things here, which EPF, the EPF-B, or the what is it?
Sorry, category B. Cat B.
Right. Which I kind of remember a little bit.
So category B is the EPF you do when you are being demoted, basically back to the beginning, but you're not going to the RPF, which is like a gruesome, but the EPF is similar, but it's only for a little while before you go on post. The RPF is longer. Like, you know, you're going to be on the RPF. Like the RPF is like the hole in jail. Like you're going to like confinement. Like you're just, every move you make is being watched or watched by somebody. So
they had to run from place to place, and a lot of times they wore all black.
Wait, Sam.
Uh-huh.
Re-say what you just said.
Oh, what, for the RPF? Yeah, they had to run like to their next place. Like they couldn't walk, so it was like
anywhere. They have to run everywhere they go. RPFers have to run.
EPF as well, though, too.
Same with EPF, 100%.
I didn't even get my period for those 6 months.
It's like you're on a boot camp. Exactly. You're on a boot camp, and it's intense.
It's a bit more of maybe more like a jog, because they don't want, you know, to create out PR. So they, you know, they don't want you running through the streets, but it's like a jog, you know. Yeah. And they wore all black. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, all navy blue or black pants and white shirts or something.
Yeah,
or all
usually
black.
A lot of them would have like paint and stuff, you know, on there.
Right. Like old, like they were used from RPFers before, and they were just washed, and like, here's your blue navies.
Yeah, and I remember walking through during when the RPF were having like their meal time, because it would be later after the rest of the staff. And I remember this at the PAC base and at Flag. Both were like a cloud of smoke. Everyone was smoking, because it's like the one thing they could probably do, and you're gonna need a vice if you're. Some people I remember
smoking cigarettes. Let's be clear. So running everywhere you go. So it's actually out ethics for an RPA. I just want to be clear about this. Sam's just casually saying these things. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. We're so used to this language, but these are intense things. So they have to run everywhere they go. like, so they're done. Oh, I need a shovel for the trench I'm digging. Okay, I'll be right. Oh, and they can't run anywhere or go anywhere without their twin, their buddy. Their buddy has to go with them. So you'll never see an RPFer running around without his twin or her twin with them running right next to them. So they're always running in pairs so they don't run off and blow. Like, that's just the truth of it. And then the other thing is nobody's allowed to speak or communicate to an RPFer. It doesn't matter if you've been on a post or a COR job and known the guy for 20 years. You're not allowed to communicate or even say hi to an RPFer when they're coming by you or anything. You don't talk to the RPFers. And our RPFers have to say hi, sir, to every single human Sea Org member they see. It doesn't matter if they're the dishwasher. It doesn't matter if they're the lowest post on the org board or whatever. Every RPFer has to call the tiniest 8-year-old kid, yeah, hi, sir, when they're running, hi, sir, hi, sir. And it's out, it's not okay. It violates policy if you do not say hello, sir, as an RPFer to a CR member walking by you.
Were you going to say,
hi, sir, hi, sir?
Were you going to say out FO38?
Yeah, but then I was like, I was going to say that. So it's out FO38, which is a flag order 38 by L. Ron Hubbard, where he literally writes in there, do not barter cigarettes from other Scientologists or CR members. This is CR policy. Do not barter cigarettes. It's out. It means basically like it's rude. It's disrespectful. It's like you're treating an executive like shit, or you're degrading their title. What do you call that? Stature. You're degrading their stature by not following this policy letter. But it makes sense now, because like in the real world, if you ask somebody for a cigarette or whatever, you're kind of being friendly and casual with them. Hey, can I bum a smoke? So it's disrespectful to even think it's okay to bum a smoke off of another officer or SEER member, just in general. It's disrespectful. Do your own fucking shit. So there's stupid little rules on this out FO38 policy. One is like, don't have ladders in the hallways. Some of the things are so dumb because they were written so long ago when L. Ron Hubbard was on a ship and he was teaching the cadets how to fucking act.
I think there was a policy letter about like using newspaper to clean the windows,
Yes.
Like
so you have to, L. Ron Hubbard has a policy letter for everything. Yeah. I love when Sam brings all these things up because I'm like, you think Sam's just like, oh yeah, RPFers have to run everywhere. I'm like, wait, what he means is that, but let me break it down.
Wait, I want to add a weird correlation before we get past the cigarettes, which is in a mental institution, they will pass out cigarettes for everybody to go around on a smoking break. So just think about that. Like, people who are confined, and going through mental, intribulation. But yeah, no, mental and emotional issues at that time and processing or not processing trauma, that's when they give them the cigarettes. Anyway, so it's just an interesting correlation I see as you say that cigarette smoke, wafting there as the RPFers are eating.
I never saw an RPFer that didn't hate their life from my opinion, You're muted.
Sorry. I know. I was like, Sarah's doing something weird. I was like, oh, wait, she's talking to me. Shit. So what I was going to say is it's actually, I mean, what do you mean by that, Sam? Like, to me, because wait, let me say what I'm about to say. There are times, every single time I see an RPFer, even in the now that I'm in the outside world and I see an RPFer running by, not once am I like, I look, I'm like, oh, they look like they're fine. They're fine. They're like, oh, they're chatting. They don't look bad. They don't look like, so it's actually negative. It's a negative thing. It's banky or case on post, or you're causing other people to look at you if you're interbulated or doing something else. Like, or if you're upset about something, or if you don't want to be on the RPF and you fucking hate life, you still have to run around respecting the other Sea Org members above you, which is everybody in the Sea Org, which is everybody around you. So you're not allowed to be upset in front of them because you have to be busy running. And then when you're running by them, hi, sir. Like, look, we're doing so good on her. We're really, because in the real world, in the reality of an RPF is you're trying to finish the RPF. You want to graduate the RPF. So any execs you see or anybody, you want them to know, like, wow, he's doing really good on the RPF. So what do you mean, Sam? Because I've always thought, of course, now if we look at them, we think, no, we get it. They're in a fucking mental trap, literally. But when have I ever seen an RPF or crying or like sad? That's not allowed.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
They keep them like separated from.
Well, they have them buddied, right? They have each buddy. They have each RPFers has a buddy. Always. Yeah, there's always a twin with them. They call them twins. Oh, my twin on the RPF.
But they're usually not working in plain sight. Like they will work around.
Well, at the Int Ranch, for example,
that was different because it wasn't a service organization, you know.
But the only two RPFs I've ever seen were the Gold RPF at the Int Ranch. I also want to be clear about that. The RPF for Gold base, international base, which means for RTC and for anybody in the world, was at the Int Ranch. And guess what, Sam? Guess what I found out? It was at the Int Ranch before the Int Ranch even became a cadet school.
Wait, so sorry.
The RPF base was at the Int Ranch before it became the cadet school.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think they actually bought the property to make it probably like an RPF sort of rehabilitation thing, and then eventually was like, oh, we'll just keep the kids here we're starting to see a lot of these executives joining the upper levels have kids, so we're gonna so don't let me forget about that, Sam. I want people to know, how did you get to the Int Ranch, first of all, and then and what your experience was tell me this story about you and your sister going to the Gold Bay, because that's when I first met you. That's the first time I saw Sam was this sweet little freckled little sweetheart. And I'm saying this as an adult now because I was also a kid. I wasn't like, oh, what a sweetheart. But as a kid, my grungy little self was like, oh, Sam's so sweet. He's so cute. That's how everybody felt about Sam. Yeah, so I'm like, how did sweet Sam get to Gold? Oh my God. I felt like I wanted to squeeze your cheeks, but I felt like everybody did that and you probably didn't like it. But he was such a cutie. Yeah. Anyways, so I just remember that being like, oh my God. And then that I had said in one of my earlier episodes, like, I think I met Miriam. I met her later, but I thought, oh, I met Miriam. Maybe we were already close because maybe I had met her before. I was like, I feel like I had met her before. And then Sam reminded me that Miriam and him went to the Gold Base when the Int Ranchers were allowed to go to the Gold Base and play like foosball and random games for a little bit. I think it was for Sea Org Day or something.
That's when we went up. It was a little bit of a loophole how me and Miriam got up there.
Explain.
Yeah, so when we first came out from Australia, I was like just about to turn 3, I think, when I came to LA from Australia. So I went to the old CEO first.
The CEO was where?
In Celebrity Center. It was in the parking lot of Celebrity Center. There was a big old rope.
Green tarp. Oh, well, wait, what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Oh, there was like a big rope ladder. That's because it was
Why does that sound so why am I getting a visual in my head from like so long ago?
So it was like, I think the first like daycare there, and then they moved some kids to the ATA.
To the big blue building. So I was at the CEO with you, Sam.
Yeah.
What class were you in? Vivian Jenner's class?
Well, I was
do you know a teacher named Vivian Jenner? She took care of all the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds and stuff.
That I remember her from the ATA, the Apollo Training Academy.
Wait, so the CEO was before the ATA?
Yes, and we called it the old CEO.
Vivian was also, pretty
She was
much
there too?
was at the CEO, and that's how she was also a teacher / adult at the ATA. And I was in Vivian's class almost the whole time. I was at the CEO and the ATA. So I knew you literally as a kid, Sam. I'm just realizing this right now.
Wow. Okay. So maybe,
And
yeah.
then later you got, wait, so you were born in Australia? I knew that, right?
Sydney, baby.
And then, okay, your little Sydney Aussies out there. You were born when? How old were you? How far apart are you and your sister, Miriam?
I think we're like 3 years.
Okay, so you were
I
how
think
old
two
when
or
you
3
left?
years.
When you left Australia with your parents, right?
Yeah, I was
And-
like just about to turn 3. Sorry.
No, go ahead. And were they joining the Gold Base, or were they joining? No, they were joining the LA, like the Los Angeles Blue Building post or something. What was their post or job? Do you know?
So my mom came out first. So she left me, my brother, and my sister in, I believe it was Sydney, with our dad.
Whew. Wow, that I have to pause you. That just cleared up and what do you call that? Like solidified what I thought. That I was like, I bet you they did this with a bunch of parents. So exact same thing happened with my mom and dad. My mom left early, while she was pregnant with me, just to make sure that, and I don't care what she says. Like, Mom, if you're watching this, go watch the next video. I'm writing a letter for her. That's very, I just already got emotional thinking about the letter. So I'm doing a video just for my parents and my mom. And if they see it, great. But I want it to be very clear and exactly. So whenever I do come out with that, whatever. But what was I saying? Catch me up. What were we just talking about before I did that?
What they did with the kids, like the parents of the kid, like how your mom left first, you were saying, when she was pregnant?
Yes. So thank you, honey. So
and she wasn't pregnant. So this was my brother's the oldest, my sister's in between, and me. I was like just about 3 when we left.
Sammy, I'm the same as you. I have an older brother and I have a sister, and then I have me. And you have your older brother and your sister Miriam and you, right?
Yep.
We're the same. We're just female male. But what I was going to say is that they had this process with my parents where they sent my mom off by herself with me pregnant 6 months, and left my dad in Canada with my brother and sister to handle the bills and close up everything. While my mom then had me born in LA, which I haven't clarified yet. Maybe someday if my dad will leave the Sea Org and come be a beautiful SP with me, then he will tell me if he was there at my birth or not. I really want to know that. And if he was, I want to know so many things. But they did the same thing is what I'm getting to. And they did this all across the world with executives and parents that they were planning to have them on these positions or posts. And they were like, oh, she's joining Sarah. Great. So we need her. They're going to go to the nursery. They're going to go to ATA. They're going to go to the CE. It was almost like, okay, parents come in. Good. The kids go here. And you go to your jobs, and then when you're done, you go to the thing, and then you bring them back here in the early morning, and then you go to your jobs all day, which means it's not an 8-hour day. It's like a 12, 14-hour day, maybe 15, 16. And then if it's too late, you might as well just leave Megan and them there. Vivian will take care of them, put them, and then they'll just be in the morning so you're not distracted from post. Like, let's be real. This is exact. And in the classrooms, we slept and lived in the classrooms. So if parents didn't come pick us up, we were sleeping on cots.
At the ETA? Is this?
Yeah. I remember
that.
this vision so clearly as a kid, just smelling piss and smelling my cot, smelling like piss, dry old piss. And I never peed. I never have been known that I was the peer. I remember going, oh, look, Shanoa, Christina.
No,
I would
wasn't
know
it
the
you?
kids.
Wasn't it you? Or it might have been somebody else who actually said for warmth they peed. Like knowing like they started to pee and then like it was like comfort. They're like, oh, there's warmth and comfort. One of you cadets have told me this story before where it was like,
I
who were
have.
probably the ones who was peeing.
I
Yeah.
have, and it was when I was blowing, when we were running away, and I was so fucking freezing. I was by myself, by the way, and I was freezing under an oak tree, and it was raining, but I was so dedicated to not go back, and I had the walkie-talkie. Sam's gonna love this. I had the Int Ranch, like the adult walkie-talkie, and I had it really low so I could hear. Hi, honey bunch. I could hear when they were where they were, because I could hear them. Like, just check the maintenance shed. She's not here. It's locked up. And so then I would go to the sauna room. Remember the sauna by the pool?
Yes,
I would
that's
go
right.
to the sauna room, climb up in the ceiling, and then go to sleep in the tool shed. But I came up with this idea of when I was freezing my fucking ass off, and I was already gone for like 10 hours. They were like, where is she? And it was nighttime. It was like fucking 3 a.m. Like, I guess that's not nighttime. But I remember it being like, whoa, it was like glowy to me as a kid. It seemed like nighttime, but the moon was so bright that I could see everything. And I had this walkie-talkie and I could hear everything. And it was so cold. It was in, like, I think, in the desert in, Hemet, it's probably in, September time, it's probably really cold. The desert period at nighttime is really cold. And I just was like, how long nobody could find me. I was in the shadow of this big dark oak tree and everybody kept running by me. And I thought, oh my God, they just finished checking the maintenance shed. And I heard them say locked up. It's all good. And I knew that I used to hide in the sauna attic. And I remember I'd look over from the sauna and I would look down and see the maintenance shed and all the tools and the adults like metal shop or whatever. So I was like, I climbed over the wall and I was just finally sleeping. But I peed under that oak tree and that kept me warm for like 2 hours where I didn't have to move and hide. And it was the warmest, most pleasurable thing ever. I was frozen. I was soaking wet already from the rain and running. And
I'll give that a try tonight. No.
Yeah, Sammy, Sam. Yeah. So that, yeah. Sam, let's talk about do we have any other questions? That was your question, Sarah? Not about the pee, but before that you said what was our experience? The non-interbulations, that was way long ago. And then was there anything else as the common question for me and Sam? Oh, that's where we're getting to. That's pretty incredible that if you were at the CEA, Sam, or the ATA, I was there the whole time.
Yeah,
my mom gave birth to me at the Wilcox Hotel.
Yeah,
so I was a baby. Yeah, see, so I was a baby.
Yeah,
we were baby friends.
I remember you mentioning like having like a tiny TV or not, like maybe your parents did, that they would pull out. Like I kind of recall, in the
closet.
Yeah, I kind of recall us. I think it was at the Wilcox, having a tiny little TV, like, and
so that was done because they made I think there's some L. Ron Hubbard policy about getting rid of all the or David Miscavige, either one. They're both psycho, but they were saying there was this policy: everybody get rid of your TVs. And now that we're aware of Scientology's tactics, now we go, oh, it wasn't that it was feeding us all these bad mental. No, it's the TV giving any information about the facts of life, right? In the 80s and 90s, TV would be like, oh, the news was so important and da-da-da. So they were like, nobody can watch the news because there could be bad stuff about Scientology on the news or psychiatry. They're just promoting drugs and painkillers and, so we're like, oh yeah, we don't need that. but we want to watch. Our parents were like, there's something in them, that make them want to be like, oh, we have to let them have some fun.
Yeah, I
or
guess
some distraction. So yeah, it was like our parents might have pulled, like my mom pulled her little freaking TV for us to watch, like either like Aladdin on the little VHS thing or a small one where we would be up like literally this close watching Tom and Jerry, eating Saturday night chocolate chip cookies. Do you remember that? Saturday night dessert
at the Int Ranch?
Yeah, in general. Yeah, those chocolate chip cookies with like salt and vinegar chips. I remember that. My mom would always do that. Oh, and she would tickle her back. So, oh my God. Weird.
They used to let us watch the Simpsons. That was one of the shows.
Because Nancy Cartwright's a Scientologist.
Yeah,
the voice of Bart.
At the Anthony building. So
yep.
Where the kids stayed who went to the ATA.
Interesting. So yeah, I have some confusion about the Anthony building and the ATA. Like,
so the ATA is across the street from Bridge, like
right.
Bridge Productions.
Right.
And
wasn't it not wrapped in like basically metal fencing with a green tarp?
I think it was blue, the tarp.
Okay, yeah, blue. Yeah. And then it was loud, the blue plasticky kind of tarp, and then they changed it later to green fabricy, so it wasn't so
rough,
loud when the wind stuff, and it was so you actually couldn't see the outside world.
Was that the brick building that's across from Bridge, like by the parking lot over there? Is that what you're talking about?
It was building? Brick, actually, like probably like cinder block brick, painted brick.
Painted brick. Okay, I just remember the bricks.
Yeah, I think so. Damn. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we talked about the TV. What was your other thing? Yeah, that was just crazy that it became that's crazy that Sam was in Australia, then was at the CEO and the ATA. That's crazy. Then we went to the Int Ranch, and then years later, you came to the Int Ranch.
I was at the pack.
Why didn't your sister come to the Int Ranch?
So I went to the old CEO and then the ATA, and then I remember after the LA riots happened, we like went camping up at the pack ranch.
You were during the riots, you were in LA, like in the organization. And they were like, let's get these kids out of here during the riots or something. And then they put you at the pack ranch.
Yes, but that was just temporary. And so bringing back to what the Anthony building is like, it was the extra berthing, like where people would stay apart from the pack base.
I do remember it being separate. Yeah.
Yeah, like 7
and
blocks
I remember
away
the Anthony building, like bring them. Yeah, I like, this is crazy. I don't, because I was so young. I really was. How was it? Probably like 2 or 3. But I remember the Anthony building. Like I can hear my mom's voice saying, pick them up at the Anthony building or something. I just remember that. All like.
Wait, and so that's different than the AB building then?
I think AB is Anthony building.
I think that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that building very intimately.
Yes, it's 100% the same building. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I know the cockroaches between the floors there.
Yep. I was like, Laura, do I need to keep bringing up the cockroaches?
Yes, we do. We do. Having the kids crawl between the floors in order to put poison for the cockroaches. I think that in and of itself.
Like, Sarah, can you imagine giving your child right now, oh, honey, even in your most kindest heart, hey, honey, will you take this cockroach and just pour it around?
Crawl between the floor. Crawl between the floor where,
you're small enough to get under. You're doing a great job. Just don't don't get that in your eyes, silly.
Don't breathe it in. No, don't breathe it in.
No, they didn't even think about that.
So the Anthony building is the A building. Okay, cool. That clarifies.
So when did you go to the AB then, Sarah?
I was at the B building for FLOEPF. That's where I was.
Okay, so that's how you know it. That's
How I built rooms and bathrooms there and ran those floors, each and every floor. Legion, please stop. I've been on the roof there. I've been, I've been everywhere in that building. Me and that building are very, very intimate. So.
Wow. So Sam, so that was a good little cover. What group batch were you in? Who was in your group? Do you remember?
When I went to Flag?
From Int Ranch to Flag.
Yeah, I remember Melissa.
Sutter?
Uh-huh.
Why did you hesitate? That's so weird.
No, I just, no.
Oh, did you have a little crush on her or something?
Oh, nah.
That's what it was.
Really.
Did you have a little crush on her and you're like, oh, I just remember she was in the group, so I was excited to go?
I'm sure
or not.
Yeah,
am I just making that up?
Well, she was slightly older and yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I know, but you did kind of like her.
Yeah, I thought she was cute.
I'm kidding. I'm being your ethics officer. So you did like her.
But
were you 2D flowing her? No, I'm kidding. So why do you remember her? You don't remember anybody else in the group?
I'm trying to think if...
Look, I didn't forget about her. It was Melissa Sutter. I don't know if you can read it. The light might too bright. Anyways, so I was like, did I put her in the Rolodex? So Sam, I told the whole world, this Rolodex is only for anybody that has any association with me or the Int Ranch or Gold or the adults, the quote unquote Sea Org adults that were at the Int Ranch. So this is specifically for Int Ranch adults and cadets and children.
Okay. Yeah.
Any hints of the bill. So Melissa Sutter, who else? Because I went before you guys. I remember when you guys came. I remember when their group landed in Clearwater and I was like, oh, Sam and Melissa. I was just like, okay, wow, more of my friends are coming. Like,
I can't remember if Michelle was with us.
Michelle Dalianibus?
Yeah, I can't quite remember. I think we were a particularly small group. I remember.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think there was only like 4 or 6 and it wasn't like okay, yeah, that's what I do remember. My group was 8. I had me, my sister, Kiri Willoughby, I think Ariella Coleman. I was shocked to be part of one of the first groups because I was like, I'm so out ethics compared to these people. But then now I'm like, oh, they were trying to keep me and my sister together because I probably would have eventually gone astray. They would have lost me if I went to Pack Ranch. I would have been an out ethics fucking bitch. Are you kidding?
Do you remember the sex?
Flag had a really high Sarah. Flag had a really Flag base. When you go there, it's like it's no fun. If you're coming there from ASHO for training or anything, you're like, oh god, this is like real stiff. Everything's so and then you go back and you're like, oh, glad I'm not going back to Flag again, or I finished the TTC so I can go fucking back to my org because they're really, really. Anywho, okay, continue. Do I remember what?
I forgot what I said.
Okay, sorry. That it's like it's super. This is the whole therapeutic thing. Like there's a lot in the sense of going through old stories and things, and then being oh my god, and then you're like, what was the first thing I was saying? Because you had a big point, but then you're like, no.
Oh yeah,
but,
I think
I have a big point. No, you go. Wait,
I don't actually have a big remembered.
Yeah, I only realized that. Oh, the AB, the Anthony building. Oh, okay, sorry.
That was very smart, Sarah. I could be wrong, by the way, but I'm almost like 100% the AB is called the Anthony building. AB. Yeah. Anywho, what was it, Sam? Please remember.
Yeah, no, just when we showed up, the Flag cadets were also on the EPF. So do you remember that, doing the EPF in having Flag?
The Flag cadets were 100%.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so glad you brought that up. So this is then how I also got to know beautiful good friends that I have hopefully still today if they talk to me. But Anderly Thompson, she was a cadet at the QI in Florida. So as we were being shipped to Florida from the Int Ranch, we were put into the QI, which is a hotel, Quality Inn, but the Scientologists, Sea Org members owned the whole property. But so it just looked like I even think this is so sidetracked. I think there was like wogs that would drive by and be like, "Oh, can I get it?" And they're like, "No, this is private." And they're like, "Oh, okay." So like security was always in the front, like, "Nope, this is a private." They thought it was just like a shitty motel or something. Anywho, I have so many dear friends from joining the Clearwater EPF at the same time that the cadets from the QI Clearwater like their little group, were getting their standards raised, and you need to shape up, and then they were being told to join. So I became friends with a lot of these people who, and same with Sam as saying, that we were all joining this EPF all at like near the same time. So the idea was to get the cadets from all these cadet orgs around, anybody that's ready and they're not too young and they're like 14 or 18 or 17. No, not 18, because they would just have them join already if they were 18. But they were just bringing whoever they couldn't, right? From all the cadet orgs. Who knows? Who's the last? Who's the out ethics ones? Who do we need to take longer? Who do we need to ship off to pack base? Because pack base has a lower ethics level or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, they were like basically getting kind of disbanding the cadet org, like it was multi-purpose. Because
that's what it felt like.
Yeah,
it felt like they were dismantling the cadet org. But do you think that was because they were saying no more kids in the Sea Org, and so we are the last kids, and so
I think it's because there was a lot of like journalists getting interested, maybe, or there was a lot of heat, like people were cluing into the fact that they had these like kind of labor forces.
I definitely know that's definitely why, and I love that that's so smart for bringing that up. That's exactly why. That's the exact answer. Is it was too many problems, lawsuits. Imagine Ash Woodcraft, they were probably suing them around that time. Like I'm sure they were getting a lot of heat from minors. I didn't even know what a minor was until I was like trying to leave. Before I was a minor,
they like go down in caves and they dig, right?
Yeah, I was like, you mean the gold miners? I was like, okay, so I'm a miner. What does that mean? Go dig for some gold.
Yeah, there's so much, but because I was also earlier I was going to mention the security checks that we got and the what was it, the non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah. So on this process of leaving the Sea Org, we talked about this at the very beginning of this interview. If y'all are still up, there are more people watching now than when we started, and it's actually tripled. So we are fantastic. Anywho, to the boo. And I'm fucking this is fantastic. I got 3 angel babies. We got 3 angel babies on the screen. And also, let's see if there might be another one coming. Haven't heard back. Also, I like to give people free will and time. Like, I don't need to rush anybody. I was like, Sam, you do this. I was like, Sam, get some fucking headphones, fool. You can't. Just kidding. But I also want people to hear Sam's story. So I don't want you to not have the right thing. I'm like, no, just make sure you got, So, but the thing is there's not a lot of cadets all talking about their experiences and why they're so mingled into every single organization across the whole world. Like, what our jobs in Clearwater ended up doing, in how did we get so close to other countries, and how did we get so close to other people from other countries who had never been in America, who barely spoke English. And then as we were on the EPF with them, we're like teaching them English and all this stuff really quickly. Like there's a huge human and sex trafficking, child trafficking, like scheme that's built behind, Serge Delmar explains it, like says this so clearly. He's like, you guys are calling it a hotel, but inside we're calling it an organization. So if you're going to call it hotels, like the Fort Harrison Hotel or the Sandcastle Hotel or the Asho Foundation, you're going to call it a building or a hotel. Well, then there's abuse and child trafficking and human trafficking and sex abuse and and pedophilia and rape and all this stuff happening under your guys' eyes in this thing you're calling a hotel. Wow, I just went down that hole. Anyways, I want that to be clear. So we are cadets and people that were young, in a young person's frame of mind, now realizing today that this is all not okay to do to human beings at any age whatsoever. Like, it's not okay, Sam, that we were so suppressed at the cadet org to not be able to giggle at times and to laugh, or to be like creative and adventurous, and to get the beautiful, proper education that we should have had about the world. And so that we could do better things for the world, and the amount of energy and beautifulness that we have internally in us naturally. Like, the amount of things, like, and there's no reason for it. That's the messed up thing. Like, there's no reason for us to have been spanked so much. There's no reason for us to have suffered and been told, no, you're not going to go see your parents this weekend because you're in the governance group and you've fucked up too many times. Like,
well, Lara, but that is the point, right? I mean, that is the point, right? That is the reason they do it. And whether it's a conscious or unconscious thing, it's that energy behind it that has to do with, controlling and manipulating and indoctrinating and absorbing and utilizing other people's energy, like usurping other people's sovereignty. I mean, that to me is what I see. And again, it's like Scientology, I feel like it's like it allows you to take a magnifying glass, a microscope, and to really see, like, oh, that's what's really going on in the wiring here. But the crazy thing is it's like that wiring, or that like framework, like, is like, it's around us. And that is actually one of the beautiful things, though, Lara, like, that you guys get to sit here and talk about what happened, be clear about what happened, and then be like, it's, yep. And then if people can see the pattern that you guys, like, I know Lara and I have talked about this, and I wonder, Sam, if and please, like, or Lara, microphone.
it's the pattern. Sam and I have definitely talked about this. Me and Sam have been on camping trips and have had amazing stoner, mushroom, psilocybin, healthy talks and healthy, like, and music vibes.
I don't even know.
Sam's like, I better mic this up. But no, I definitely, but it would be good to hear Sam's perspective of him understanding that. Do you like what?
No.
Wow. He went. I was like, I just distracted him with the mushrooms.
Well, I mean, they've definitely helped me. No, I'm just joking. Go on. What was your question?
Sarah, what was your question?
No, so I was saying, like, because I wasn't as deep as you guys, and right. Yet I still got that layering. I still got that indoctrination. I still had my sovereignty usurped. I still believe that thoughts and ideas were my own when they weren't, you know? Which I think
this is what I wanted to say. I was trying to explain. I felt from, I can hear myself. Sarah, can you mute?
Yeah, I'll mute.
Or you. I was going to say, just quickly to add to that, when I was having the experience, I love, by the way, all of y'all listening and being beautiful souls and living your best life and being your best self and loving everything and being okay with learning and being wrong. That's very fun to be like, oh my God, I love being wrong, because then I know I can always be right about that once I've learned it. Anyways, oh my God, what was I about to say? This is also another thing that happens, and it's okay. My audience already knows I have this problem.
We're working, so we're looking at patterns. We're talking about psilocybin. Yeah,
I got it. So I was in the art share, where I believe you and Sam have met before, even just like in a passing, because Sam was at the art share all the time, and I lived there. Anyways, at the art share lofts downtown, yeah. And Sarah would come see me and hang out, and it was in the later years, so maybe you guys had just hung over for a little on that.
I also lived there for a period before those years, so there's some, and he knows people that I know very intimately and dearly. I think he dated one of them even, and so yeah. So no, I definitely, there's some crossover here. I know, like I told Sam, I know his name, even if we don't remember meeting. I'm pretty sure we've met a couple times out there in the world,
in the wilds.
in the wild. So what I was going to say is I do very clearly, and this may sound funny to people, but I remember very clearly finally understanding marijuana and being like, yeah, if you smoke a fucking joint and you're already drunk and you just smoke, you're going to get the spins and it's not like, there's so many things people need to really learn about psilocybin and marijuana. Like, it's not all just a party, like, and it's not, nah. So anywho, I was smoking and I remember that the quote of what's true for you is true for you, right? And I was, and I really like that though. I do like that. I feel like that's a real thing. Like, nobody, like, you can bullshit somebody and be like, oh man, I totally agree with you. But then if you walk away, you're really going like, all right, I don't believe that. So what's true for you is true for you, right? That's what I felt like. I can be understanding and nice to somebody, but whatever I feel is going to be what's real. And so there was a time I was smoking a joint, a beautiful joint. And I was like, oh, so good. And I'm so happy to be alive. And it was outside this big window. So I was just on Jason, one of my best friends. I was out on his little window in the art chair, smoking out, just watching all the people in the streets. And I just was, there was the image of that Scientology, the big yellow Scientology. Anyways, and I was like, and I was very nicely stoned. And I remember thinking,
wait, was that when somebody wheat pasted it on the wall there? Were you looking at it literally on the wheat paste when it was
there was something like that
from the road? Yeah, there was a wheat pasting of the Scientology building at one point across from Art Share.
That's what it was. And then it got me on this trip. And I'm like, that's so funny. I used to stare at that big yellow Scientology sign where the real building is. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I used to see that shit all the time. And so it got me into that thinking. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was outside Jason's big window and I was like, oh my God, that's so funny that somebody wheat pasted this stupid Scientology thing. And then I remembered going, what is true for me? I remember thinking like, Lara, don't lie to yourself. Well, Lara, Megan, don't lie to yourself. Like, what is true for me? And I remember going like, I don't believe in the odd. I don't think I don't think I'm a Scientologist. I remember thinking this to myself, really stunned, like, and then I blew out my smoke and I turned around to Jason Spallino and I was like, Jason, I'm not a Scientologist. What's true for me is true for me, right? I'm not a Scientologist. It was like, for some reason, it was so mind-blowing and so healthy on my brain to hear myself say, to at least just Jason or somebody that was once exactly. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, me neither. He's like, I mean, they can do whatever, but like, and I was like, I'm so glad we're just doing our music and stuff. I was like, but it was just a quick moment. And I just turned around. I was like, in that whole, like, probably in a long, like, staring out the window for like 20 seconds. Anyways, and I turned around and said that. And when he agreed, I was just like, oh, I love my friend. You know, I just was like, see, this is why we're so close. It was just so cool. Anyway, so yeah. So what's true for you and these things that you feel like you're really talking to yourself and you're asking yourself, like you're saying to yourself, so when I did that, that was funny. That's when I started to start telling people. Once I said it out loud once to Jason, it wasn't that it was Jason. It was just that I said it out loud. Hey, by the way, if I'm stoned or whatever, just want to let people know I'm not a Scientologist. And it felt so good to finally fucking say that. And I had not even disconnected or any of that stuff had not even happened with my parents or anything yet. So I then just hid that and only talked to like Jason, and he understood me. It was good. It was like, it got us through Little Red Radio. Sam, you been to a Little Red Radio show?
Yes, I believe maybe twice. Yeah.
See, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool that Sam was at my crazy first band, Little Red. I had so much fun. So that was a band, I've said this before, that was a band that I had forgotten for once in my life about Scientology. We were having so much fun, and it was Jason, and the drummer Eli was also, I don't know if he is now, but he was definitely a Scientologist at the time. But we were so focused on just like being famous and like, let's just go have fun and like let's go nuts. Like, we were going to promote this band like Sea Org members and get us famous, you know? And we started to get actually pretty well known and pretty big. And we went on tours, and I definitely learned a lot from that band. And I appreciate that band so much more now today than I ever have in my whole life, like, of music. Like, wow. Okay. So Did I just sidetrack 100%? I was like, Sarah will tell me the truth.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
You said
100%.
like Owen Hubbard says, if it's true for you, it's true for you, and that does sound pretty good. Like, but then he also says, if it isn't written, it isn't true, and he means like written in policy
By him, by policy.
yeah. So it's very ironic and kind of condescending. Like the further you get in, the less freedom of thought you have, you know, because it's supposed to be like
right. And what they're really saying is what's true for you is true for you once you believe in Scientology. Once you realize Scientology is the way, then whatever's true for you is true for you.
Yeah, that's probably more like it. I mean, because you have to take his word, you know?
Right.
That's what they're saying, you know?
Yeah. And then also like what's the other ones they have on the billboards? Like
keeping Scientology working.
I don't know.
Do you remember that?
Anyways,
well,
they just
no, you know what it makes me think of is the A to J check and how it's like open-mindedness, right? Isn't that one of them on the A to J?
Okay. And that's to check if you're like a suppressive, or what was that?
It's like to check if you're out rudes or something, or like I think it's like an initial check they do in ethic. Somebody else, if you know what we're talking about, please. I just remember it's like you can get it as a public as well. Like it's an A to J check, and I think it is like a kind of foundational check that they do in ethics. And yeah, if you have an open-mindedness, that's something that's not.
No, you're 100%
wanted.
right, Sarah. You're 100% right.
Okay.
I also say literally and 100% right all the time, so all y'all need to just get used to it, okay?
And I mention one more thing?
And I lose my train of thought all the time too. A to J check is let me finish before I fucking lose this. A to J check, you're 100% right, Sarah. And they have some fucking weird questions in that A to J. So it's A to J because it's like question A, question B, right? Right? Is that what that is? Yeah. And one of them is they need to basically see how open, like how free, willing, and open. And you know what? I'm going to invite Serge. He just texted me back. So let me send him the link, and he's going to explain to us motherfuckers what a motherfucking A to J check is. Okay.
All right. Then Sam, you should tell us what you want to say, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Oh,
I love when you guys keep it on.
It was just something I mentioned before when I said, like, remember when we were getting the sec checks? What I meant was when we were leaving the Int Ranch before we went to Flag, we were getting sec checks. So leaving.
But who was your sec? So who was your sec checker?
I can't remember her name.
But let's talk about what your reaction. No, I'm not going to say anything because I already said this on a previous episode. I want other people to hear what another cadet went through and their eyes of it. Okay. What did they do when you were leaving the Int Ranch and you were going to Clearwater? What did they do with you? What was from start to end, and how did you get there and approved and whatever?
Yeah, they did a security check, and where they like want to make sure you don't have any like overts and withholds, and so that you don't make like bad PR. This also was, I think it was more for the what's it called, how it was supposed to be like a special location, the how like back in the day before someone put out the info, like they didn't know where the Int Ranch was, and Gold Base was supposed to be like secret. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I think it was also because of that, for like security risks. And we got the sec check, and they made us sign a non-disclosure agreement, which had like.
Did you wait? So I have a question because I have a whole different perspective on that. I had no idea that, because I understand NDAs now. I had no idea that what we were signing was an NDA.
Yeah.
Right? Because how would we know if we know nothing about the outside world's laws?
Right.
Well, and can you do that as a minor? Can they do that? Like, is that
But that was the
legal?
whole thing. I mean, no, obviously we know the law out here. We know the law. Minors are not responsible for anything they sign without their parents being there.
There's also
So,
like signing under duress, like, you know what I mean, in a sense, or like
oh, 100%.
I
But
signed.
also having your parents' approval saying, if you want to join Flag in Florida, you know, you can go ahead and tell, like, for example, my executive that was interrogating me was Mark Yeager. And so I know that, do you remember that? There were like 4 executives and there were a few women, maybe, what's her name? Okay, I'm going to bring Serge Delmar in because he'll know all these names. And he can also explain to us the reason for, sorry, I removed him and Adam. This is Serge Delmar. Welcome, this magic sweetheart angel baby, to the Cadets talking, chit-chatting shiza. Me and Sam were just talking about, Sam and Sarah actually brought up, there's a question in the A to J check where it specifically, and maybe you know this, where it specifically is asking, like, are you kind of dreamy, or are you, what is it, Sarah? What were you saying?
Open-minded.
Open-minded. Oh, sorry. And what the reason for that would be. And do you remember the other questions on the A to J? Because they made us, yeah. So I was like, Serge is a perfect person.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sam.
What's up?
So we will definitely do a full video where we'll actually show the receipt and bring you guys the questions so you can read them for yourself. But I think just sort of in a nutshell, what Sarah's saying is correct. And the open-minded thing was a workaround for them to find out, you know, in order for them to crisis manage and keep you really like in that slave state that they need you to be, they need to make sure that you're not open-minded, which means you're not looking at any other sources of possibilities of help, of information. I mean, they're keeping you in a data anorexia state. I mean, and to your point, Lara, that you were just saying, it's like, how was I supposed to know what an NDA was? You weren't supposed to know, right? It's like you were not supposed to know anything about the law. You were not supposed to know anything about other religions. So every aspect of the data was controlled. And then, you know, us not knowing any better, we didn't know that being open-minded would be a wrong thing. And, you know, they were just like, you gotta love this. And if you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. And it's just so ridiculous.
Serge, it makes me remember actually my mother, anyway, she was seeking help in something else that was really helping her. It was like really positive, and it had a community, and it had, you know, it was really a positive thing. And I remember now, actually, they wanted her to cut ties with it, because exactly what you were saying. And I totally, yeah, I spaced about that. By the way, your mic sounds so dreamy in your voice. So it's just so, just for the record.
You'll get there, Sarah, honey, boo boo child. It's just Serge, though. Serge is just got this soft, sort of sexy appeal. No biggie. Just checking out my fine lines.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad, you know, because again, it's like they're taking advantage of people that with good faith were relying on advice and on guidance, the supposed guidance we were getting. I mean, again, nothing makes sense, right? Because we were all stuck at a hotel doing 2-week courses and getting advice, legal advice, medical advice, all kinds of financial advice, like all manner of advice from people that completed a 2-week course in a hotel. Like, what in the hell are you doing in a hotel doing that? Like, seriously, like, you know, and I taught the courses, so I know how BS they are. And I know how little they trained anyone to be dealing with anything, because it's just outrageous that you know, it's been purported that these courses were helpful for anybody. I mean, those courses were horrible, actually, because it put the end user in this like delusional state of like, oh, I have the power to do this, and this is so normal, right? And normalize all the abominations that is what L. Ron Hubbard wrote down on those books. I mean, he wrote it without shame. And, you know, unfortunately, anyone who ever trusted him in any way, shape, or form fell for his betrayal. And, there's a concept that I've learned in therapy that talks about, developing like betrayal blindness. Like you are not able to see the level of betrayal. And it's almost like your mind is protecting you because
It's so
you
bad.
almost cannot deal with the actual facts. So you're always in this like constant state of cope because you gotta like, and you gotta swoosh it is what they call it. It's like all the things that we saw that were outrageous and horrible, you had to just pretend they weren't happening because it's like it is that cognitive dissonance, right? Like we saw the sessions were horrible. Like how could you keep someone locked up for 5 hours and call that beneficial against their will, mind you? And these are tortures, like actual bona fide tortures. Is enhanced interrogation
because they also
called.
call sec check sessions. So that's what Serge is meaning. Like, yeah, some people have sessions that are like, look at that ceiling, look at that wall, look. So it's so light and dreadla. Okay, great. This is just, again, grooming for you to be in the alignment of what L. Ron Hubbard has laid out exactly how you ask. What do you ask? Who do you ask? Why do you ask them? In which way are you trying? So this is all very purposely laid out. A sec check, a session, any of this is all auditing. I'm going to just clear that up. If somebody's getting auditing, in the legal term, Scientology is using a sec check as auditing. So I'm just going to use their own juice and mouth and say, okay, then your auditing is illegal. That's where.
Going back to, taking down to the basics of what it is. And again, having been trained as an auditor as a child, what I understood is
Serge, can you just let people know? Sorry, Sam, do you know Serge was like trained from age 12 to be like class 5 auditor?
Yeah, I did pick that up from one of your episodes. So I'm assuming you must have had a big freeloaders debt when you left, huh?
Over 100K.
Good question. Yeah. I didn't even think of that ever.
You did 11 years.
You didn't pay a dime of it, hopefully, right?
I did. I paid it. But I didn't pay the 100. Like they were like, oh, we're gonna. I mean, again, all the financial BS, right? We're gonna give you this deal. We're gonna take this course off of your thing, and we're gonna put a package together to help you. I think I ended up paying about 40 grand total, and we put it on credit cards, all on credit cards, and I just like worked myself to death for like 3.5, 4 years to pay it all back. Like literally like, every last dollar. And I did, but my whole, again, because I was still so much under the influence, I wanted to go back to being an auditor because that's what I thought I had a certificate for. And I was like, well, at least I should go back and make money with that. And you're in this culture where everything is so deranged, but you have no idea, like, because everything was so groomed. And going back to those sessions, like it's enhanced interrogation techniques, and that is actual torture. Like, you cannot be in a room being interrogated by whoever is sitting in front of you asking you whatever. Like that's not a thing.
Do you remember
especially underage,
the murder routine?
Yes, Sam. I mean, the murder routine was groomed with dolls, going back to how horrific this all is. Like, you drilled it with a doll, ask the doll this question, ask that doll that question. Okay, you got it. Great. Pass. Sign
it makes you become the doll. It makes you become robotic and numb to emotions, numb to feelings, because a doll doesn't talk back. All you hear yourself doing.
It's like,
no. What I'm saying is all you hear yourself doing is the commands that L. Ron Hubbard's laying out.
They're telling you you're doing a drill, but everything you're doing is in real life, right? So you're putting through this like BS acting school. Like this is the script. We had script.
But I think to be reasonable, to get them to be reasonable about it, they start purposely with a doll so that you're not really going, oh, I'm not going to do this to a human.
Well, and that's a common grooming technique of abusers with children, especially. Like dolls are used because they look so benign and it looks so, it doesn't look that crazy. So that they start showing you these things as boundaries are broken with the doll first. and then you're gonna
That's
be the
what I
doll.
meant. The doll doesn't talk back. Like, it doesn't show emotions. It doesn't say, ew, why are you asking me if I masturbate? That's so inappropriate. It doesn't do that. It just goes, nope, you're doing it wrong. Like, you're just going, oh, I didn't do it right. Okay, flunk, start. Give me that hand. You making the doll, you know, you're using, and then eventually you're doing this to a human being, and it makes sense. In your brain, it makes sense.
And Sam, I mean, I remember, I believe your friend, your brother is Ben Francis, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was a very young kid. He was tiny. I remember him when he was at the FSO. He was so young. And I think he was an HCO for a while, which is where the ethics things are going on. And he was in communications or something. I don't remember everything about him, but I remember.
Sammy was in Clearwater. Sam
Oh,
was in
then-
the Sea Org. And yeah, he
That's
came
what I
into one
thought.
of the group.
I wasn't sure if you were not there. Okay.
Yeah.
One
I
of the
was-
things I did, I'm going to let you finish because I want you guys to now say this. After this, I did earlier say if Serge jumps in, I would also like to get his perspective on how you saw all these ranch cadets coming in, just from your end, like, and how unmanaged we were in a groomed way of like being kind of like foul mouthed and stuff, but also very much knowledgeable and whatever, like or whatever. I want the world to get a perspective from your perspective.
What was your
But yeah.
post, Sam?
Yeah, Sammy, go.
Just so I can place you.
Yeah, my first post was the ethics files I see in
Okay.
HCO. Yeah.
And what year was this?
In the Coachman, right?
Yeah, in the Coachman building. So I finished the EPF in '99 because I remember the New Year's Eve event, or the New Year's event, and like, you know, having a
The Y2K.
cell. What's that?
Okay. The Y2K, was that like
Yeah.
89? Yeah.
Yeah, and we were actually kind of prepping for that at the Int Ranch. I don't know if you remember, Laura, but like when we were getting ready for Y2K. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, you're good. You're muted.
I said, oh, sorry. What did I miss? I knew I was like, oh, I'm gonna you're gonna be saying something.
No, I should have realized you didn't have your headphones on. I was just asking if you remember us getting kind of prepared for Y2K at the Int Ranch before we left.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I also was not so ethical at the time, and so my friends Sarah Leobard and Alex Nunn, me, Sarah, and Alex ran off, dug 3 huge big bucket holes. Remember the yogurt buckets we would use? They would be sealed tight. It would be so hard to open those buckets for granola and yogurt. Do you remember that, Sam?
Was it from like Cisco or where?
Yeah, from the Cisco trucks. Yeah.
We had Cisco at the Pack Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so they would let some people come on the base and some wogs, you know, and the propane guys, so we would know. We knew the difference between wogs and Scientologists simply based off of the smell. I would smell you and know you're not a Scientologist at all.
Because we couldn't use
fragrance,
yeah.
right? Perfume or fragrance.
Well,
what
Laura,
were
to
you?
just answer your question about what I thought when you guys arrived, I mean, the fact is these hotels cannot operate without a minor workforce. So let's make sure that that fully sinks in and people understand that. So when you guys arrived, you were the solution for so many problems, right? Because they need this person to do this. They need, I mean, like you, Sam, like, oh, you're 14 years old. Oh, you go file all the ethics things, right? And there you have a 14-year-old
I was
kid
12.
reading.
I was 12.
12.
When I started, yeah.
Well,
A
and
12-year-old reading the most vile, disgusting, highly explicit. I mean, these reports, if they weren't explicit, they were wrong, right?
Yeah,
So it's like
I saw a nude once, or a couple nudes of like someone that was in the Sea Org. Maybe some stuff that from previous, like I don't know why they would have that, but you know, I remember I knew where it was and I would go every now and then to like look at it, you know. But when I got put on, I was kind of like a scapegoat in the sense of there was a huge backlog, like a huge backlog.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, I remember
A
David
huge
Miscavige
backlog in what?
of
Filing or what?
ethics
Okay.
files, like
And there was. I
particles.
remember Sam being on that post. I remember joking around like, Sam. And he was like laughing, like, what? No, I'm going to
Yeah.
get in
I
trouble.
mean,
I can't.
imagine being 12 and all you do day in, day out, 7 days a week, 365 is
Filing.
grab a piece of paper, read the name of the person, read what it's about, and then go find
Filing.
out where their ethics file is, right? And this gets to the crux of what a criminal conspiracy this is, because all these papers are
And the
just
fact that he's
self-admitted
12.
felonies.
He's 12 years old.
All that's in those
Well-
papers is absolute disgusting knowledge of actual horrific behavior. And it
Right.
goes from, I mean, you know, Sam, it would go from stupid stuff like I stole a paper clip to, oh yeah, I committed, you know, the most
Rape,
horrendous
murder.
crime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of like files like were missing in the sense like basically I wasn't just like pre-sorting and filing incoming particles, and that was impossible because there was a giant backlog. It was I was delivering folders to either like the ethics officer or director of inspections and reports. Like for any committee of evidence or disciplinary action, I had to get the ethics folder for that. But it was also when people were like getting processing, the CS, the case supervisor, would want the ethics folder with the pre-clear folder, and it was just such a shit show. You know, I had to when I first
Because how
got
many
on,
people would have how many ethics folders and then how many PC folders is like, oh my God, what
Yeah.
years do you need?
Well,
And
then,
yeah.
and the other aspect of the shit show that I love that you just brought this up, Sam, because it's the collusion of all these adults conspiring and sharing highly illegal, you know,
sensitive.
admissions, because that's what it is, right? Like they are co-opted into admitting against their Fifth Amendment right to criminal behavior. Going back to that A to J check, like one of the questions is, have you committed any felonies or crimes for which you have not been arrested? So what kind of religious question is that? Like you're asking the person to self-incriminate, and people took it serious, and they got told that they were going to get cleaned by talking about every single aspect of it, because, you know, the needle floating meant that it disappeared somewhere. And that's where this gets really like, it just goes so awry, because
And
it's like,
even to the thing is the grooming before you go into an auditing session, like even from the beginning, if you're at the lower part of the bridge, when you're going in, you're already expected to be like fucking almost like like ready for like a war, not war, but like you're ready to go to the gym. You're ready to like really get through some heavy shit, right? And so you're already ready to go in expecting them. You're already being groomed over multiple years from the beginning of any sort of sec check or ethics. Oh, little ethics interview. Oh, did you masturbate? Like, or your needle's dirty. So every week they do a meter check. So any staff member has any, you're right back in the cycle of we know everything about you. Everything's being recorded. Uncomfortable questions are being asked by minors and people who are so groomed and used to this. This is a normal thing for them to go into a session and be like, and for the person receiving it and for the person doing it, they both know heavy shit is going to come up and we both have to be here. But it's not like we both know heavy. It's like, come up, just say your stuff. And this is the only place that you can get away with this, is because you've paid hours for this. You've paid your time to be here. We both understand this is going to be gruesome because I'm going to be asking you some very personal and criminal questions. These are the reasons L. Ron Hubbard created policy letters like the A to J check that have these fucking random questions, but they're very much on purpose and for the reason to get. And when somebody asks you a question like that, like, is there anything, like Serge said, is there anything you've done against the law or whatever? It's almost, they ask you in a way where you're allowed to tell us you're in a religious, very safe space and the law can't do anything about this. That's like what it is.
yeah. Well, and it's not even a thing because it's honestly like going back to this, like, hotel experience is like in churches, a confessional, or going to a priest, you're telling them what you want to tell them. And over here, it was never about telling them what you want to share. It was all data mined out of everyone, last of the end users. What did you do here? How did you do this? When did you do that? And then all of that information was weaponized against that person, right? Like their best interest was never considered. Going back to you, Sam, that said ethics folder to the case supervisors, and the case supervisors are reading all these things, and they're actually, becoming like the architects of this delusional abuse, that they're delusional enough to think that is helping anybody. And it's just crazy.
Well, I want to comment on two things. I have to go in a second because I got to take care of my son. But one thing, just you mentioning your age earlier, Sam, and the disbanding of the ranch, because I think I came shortly after that because they changed it to 14. So that was before they changed the age to 14. They're like, oh, we got to change it. All right, let's just, and then like you're saying, Serge, they needed the kids to keep it going. So it's like, okay, let's get them in while we still can, and then we can figure it out from there. And then still getting kids who are 14, right? Freshly 14.
So
To
this
come
also
in.
happened because there was there was multiple lawsuits that were being happening to kids who were younger than 14 at this time, and 14 and stuff. So they were definitely trying to close up all these things, all these cadet orgs, and move them to Clearwater, Free Winds, Pack Base, wherever legally it would be best, or wherever legally the child wouldn't become more of a issue for the law. Like, so keeping me and my sister together wasn't for the benefit of me and my sister being together. It was for the benefit of me not becoming a more out ethics person, because at least I would be there with my sister.
Right. Well, they had to work it out in such a way, but especially like, I mean, for the kids who had their parents in the Sea Org, they could just kind of put them in. It's like, oh, it's like they're putting them closer, right, to their parents, closer to their parents. But also something that you're talking about. So I had a really interesting conversation with a man once who knew more about Scientology than anyone else who had never been in Scientology before. He really, like, it was the most amazing conversation because what he studied, and I don't know the depth of truth of this, but he had so many layers and levels of understanding of the magic side of what LRH did. And I actually worked with an Akashic Records reader, and she explained to me how I think it was her teacher actually sat with LRH in a Celtic class where they worked on removing things, and it was usually pain. It was usually to assist people with things like pain that was in their body. So they would literally help remove it from this time and space, so that way they didn't have to, but what the way she told me it, it sounds like, and again, if there's anybody who's listening that knows more about this, I'm really curious, because I do feel like it's a conversation to be had, because there's an architecture, right? There's an energetic architecture to the CS is doing what they're doing to create these scenarios where they are, entrapping people, right? Is that the right use of the word here?
100%. I mean, Sarah, they're trauma bonding. That's what it's called. They're trauma bonding you. When you go through a lot of trauma in this way, especially with this narcissistic abuse, you have to have the cognitive dissonance, right? Because your auditor becomes your savior, even though he's your abuser. And in the case of children, it's like we were held against our will. We couldn't leave the room on our own volition. We were forced back into the chairs, forced to grab the cans. Don't move. Don't. Right. It's like, that's what we're going back to the enhanced interrogation techniques. And there was no intention to help anybody. L. Ron Hubbard didn't care about helping anybody. The more you did this, the more you got addicted to him and his, delusion that I'm going to help you. I'm going to cross a bridge that is invisible. We're going to help you by abusing you. Everything you do is against your best interest. And, it's like, I've learned now that I've, really gone into like studying the law, studying how attorney relationships are supposed to work, therapy, relation. And you see that, in our case, all these boundaries were just eradicated. There was no common sense at all. It was just, you tell us everything. We are your friends. We're your this, we're your that. We're everything. Like, you need us. Like, you cannot survive outside of this hotel without us.
We
This
are
is
your
kind of-
boundaries. We are your boundaries. You don't have your own boundaries. These are the boundaries.
So that
And we
goes
are
back to
here
what
to
we were
protect
saying.
you. Right.
Earlier about sovereignty and how it actually usurps somebody's sovereignty. It usurps your ability to actually connect with who you are and how you feel about something. Like Lara was saying, what's true for me is true for me, right? It's like,
I don't know if
it's
you were
like,
here,
oh.
sir. Earlier, I was saying, I finally, like, after years of learning marijuana and how that actually is, if you use it in the way that is actually for healing. Anyway, so I was doing that and I was like, what a beautiful plant. I was just so happy. And there was a wheat pasting outside of Jason Spallino's big window at the Art Share downtown Los Angeles. I was just with Jason, probably making music, whatever. And there was a wheat paste of the Church of Scientology building on the wall that somebody wheat pasted as an art, like, haha, it's so funny. But as I'm stoned, I was just like, oh my God. And in the frame of mind of like Scientology sort of brain, I was like, well, what's true for me is true for me. And I was like, at first I was like, I don't really think I'm a Scientologist. And I was like, so if I was a Scientologist, what's true for me is true for me, then that means I'm not a Scientologist. And I was just on it. But that little may sound funny to people, but that thought process just by myself alone changed my life. It made me start going, nope, I'm going to do the Little Red Radio Band how I want. I'm going to go on tour. Jason, let's do this song. Let's do Hooky. People are like, oh, but that sounds like you're singing about hookers. Who cares? Like, I started to just not care.
And I feel like that's what it's like. It took for me to extract, like, be able to actually find myself in there was plant medicine as well, you know, and I had to go real deep. And I actually, for a lot of like people who haven't used it, I'm like, how are you getting out of there? Because it took me being in really deep plant medicine in a container. And like, I was in a really special place. And at some point I've actually, there's an interview that I did for somebody else about that practice specifically. But
will we be able to see that on your YouTube and stuff?
It's not, no, it was on another person's YouTube actually. And I don't know if she's posted it yet. So, but if, you know, yeah. So, and actually it was a practice that another of the cadets got me into called Santo Daime. I'll say that much. Yeah. Our baby boy. Anyway, so with that said though, like I literally remember going in there and it like showed me the abuse that happened to me. It showed in it. But before that, I would always just be like, yeah, Scientology, whatever. Yeah. Like, it was like a thing. Like you were talking about the cognitive dissonance. I had a psychotic break and I talked about that with Aaron Smith-Levin. It was like, it took me having a psychotic break and I couldn't even say I wasn't a Scientologist, but I could at least not sign papers that said I was. Like, I got to that point. I was like, I couldn't necessarily like step into the place of like being able to verbalize it and recognize, oh no, I'm not. It was just like, oh no, I can't sign those papers. I need, you know, processing over here. And then being able, I think it was maybe a year later or so that I started that practice. Yeah, and I really don't know how a lot of it, or do you know anyone that's been able to like really see the depths of their abuse without some kind of assistance? You know, that's a question, or for any of you. I mean, I know two of you at least. Lara, let your cat out of the bag, Sam.
Yeah, no, I didn't have trouble seeing it. I knew it was fucked up, you know. But I definitely
Wait, Sam.
Mhm.
When did you know it was fucked up?
It was definitely like,
because you don't leave the Sea Org thinking it's fucked up. You're definitely not like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. You're not like that. You're like, okay, look, I'm gonna leave the Sea Org and I'm gonna like get and show them like, look at how cool I am. See, I did a lot more for you than you guys thought.
I was trying to get away, you know,
away
like,
from it.
Yeah, like I hear about that. Yeah, you want to make them proud and stuff, but for me, it was.
Well, I felt like when they let me leave, they finally did let me leave because I was like, I know you're laughing at me, but I think that Tom Cruise is not doing enough. I was like, I think if I was as famous as he is and stuff, I would be doing a lot more compared to what I'm doing here in the Sea Org. And I was like, and I'm an entertainer and I'm a singer, so I think I can do. And they laughed. Marlon Holt laughed at me. And now I'm like, oh, I'm doing a lot more than being famous. Like, fuck that. Like, wow, what a big change. Anyways, yeah.
Well, they used to call us, like, I'd get calls from Spencer Security for a while, like a little bit after I left.
I forgot about that.
You know what I mean? So like I was just doing my best to like sound like I was trying to, you know, fix things.
Be a good person.
Yeah, like I never planned on doing my lower conditions or paying my freeloader.
You're like, hey, look, I'm not like being a negative person. I'm just out here yeah, nope, I'm good. They would check in for sure. They would be like, how are you doing? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I remember going to the events, like, you know, a couple of events to kind of, you know, after I had left to like still look, you know, the part. Yeah. Oh, what I was gonna say is they didn't pay for my ticket, my plane ticket. I had to call my dad. He was the only person that I knew outside, other than my sister who was in Australia. So, and also I've heard that usually they give kids like $500, and I never got that.
So it's because you had a parent or you had somebody that actually made money.
Well,
they gave me $300. The director of inspections and reports, she gave me $300 in that van on the airport ride to LAX. And then with that money, I had to buy my plane ticket.
Oh,
that's pretty screwed up.
Yeah.
But she did in that time give me my passport. And I was like, oh, she was like, this is the thing. These are your legal documents. I didn't quite understand what that was, but I was like, oh, this legal thing keeps coming up. A minor thing. Oh, I learned what a minor is. Oh, I guess they can't declare me a suppressive yet. Like, so I was just kind of getting smart with it. Like, okay. Oh, is my passport? I'm like, I made a joke when they gave it to me. I'm like, oh, good. Finally, I can run away to the other side of the world. And they're like, that's joking.
I didn't get my green card.
I was like, whoa, because I didn't want to get it. Sorry. I was like, I don't want to get a fucking report because I have a non-interbulation on me. They send you off with a non-interbulation order. So if you get one report. So I was like, okay, I'm not trying to joke in your grade. I was just being funny, like not trying to make this an end data situation. Anyways, yeah, go ahead, Sam.
I didn't get my green card until I got to the Int Ranch. So I was, you know, probably came over on like a visa of some sort when I was just about 3, not, you know.
I would say this is what happened. 1994, they got the status, right, for being a religion or whatever, right? And so they were allowed to bring a child or anybody for a little bit to go see their church or religion or whatever. And that's how they trafficked a lot of the kids and children. But they also did this thing where they were able to, once they got you physically into the United States, then the law would work where they could actually just be like, oh, they're dedicating their whole life now to a religion. So none of these laws apply. Like they're allowed to be here. It doesn't matter if they're an immigrant. It doesn't matter. Now they're a citizen. And Serge, you could probably talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, same thing.
Hey, Serge. Sorry. Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm going to go take care of my little boy.
Go.
I'd be really curious to hear, though, Sam, for one, like just how you were so clear with it not being like, you know, well. And then also, Serge, I'm curious about that too. But I have to go right now, so I can't hear it.
So you'll keep watching later. Yeah.
I'll have to keep watching later.
If everybody, Sarah, will you tell me quickly what your is it just Sarah Seltzer at Sarah Seltzer?
So my YouTube channel that is going to have lots of content very soon is Sarah Seltzer at nature.ritual. And that's my YouTube.
Nature.ritual. That's it. At nature.ritual on YouTube.
On YouTube, Sarah Seltzer.
That's it. Perfect. I'm going to just show this on the screen so the future people can see Sarah Seltzer is an amazing, hold up. Sarah Seltzer is an amazing, I would say therapist, but that's just like, putting a cap on it. But she's not a therapist for one of my therapists, meaning that she's super amazing human, very connected with energy, spiritually, the body, trauma. She's just got her, she's an amazing Pilates instructor, and she's completely updated and certified. So she's going to be taking in clients and all this. So, and she's literally healing people like myself. This is why I say this. She's a therapist to me, because there's a lot that she does for me that I'll never get anywhere else. I will never get it, even in a paid, expensive therapy session. Like the way that, anyway, she has her touch, she has her magic.
Lara and I do it for each other. And also, if you listen to Lara's music or go to her shows, just know that right there is healing. I cried on my way here driving, listening to Lara. And every time I go to her shows, I cry and I process, and I feel just like, thank you. Thank you for this medicine. So, for the record. But Serge, it's so good to see your face.
So good to see
Sam,
you.
so good to see you. And Lara, you're right around the corner. So
is that kind Sarah, is this kind of right?
I think so. I'm still
All
new
right.
with this YouTube thing.
Me
so
too.
I'm
Look,
just...
I didn't even capitalize the first letter. So whatever. All right. So that's Sarah's YouTube. Go follow her and you'll see why. And that's all I have to say about that.
And also,
Thank you,
Serge,
Sarah,
I hope
so
I
much
get
for
to
your
hug
time.
you while I'm in LA, okay? I'm going to plan on
Oh,
it.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
This is going to happen very soon.
Okay, good. Just checking.
All right, babies.
Goodbye, everybody.
Everybody say bye to
Hello.
Sarah. Bye-bye, Sarah. Love you.
Bye.
Go to her channel. That's her. Ciao, ciao. Okay. Wow. Okay, Serge, let's go back to you. What were you saying?
I know. I think just.
No. We were talking about Sam. Serge was going to clarify something with you about. Do you remember what that was? I was like, oh, you guys can talk about that.
I don't quite remember.
It was just about the cadets, right? Coming to flag or something.
100% for
Yeah,
sure. It was
initially,
definitely something like that.
I know. Yeah, we were also talking about just like green cards and passports. Because I'm Australian. We mentioned
Serge was born in Mexico, right?
Yeah,
Mexican.
Yeah. Did they have a cadet org or anything out there that you were a part of, or no? Your parents were just hardcore, so to speak, Scientologists, and then they were like, "Serge, you're going to Florida." Was it like that, or were you in the cadet org?
No, I was born in a Scientology. My parents were in the Sea Org when I was born in Mexico. So for the first 5 years, they were.
So whether they called it a cadet org or not,
but we had like 50, 60 kids.
Yeah,
like,
so that's what a cadet org was. Yeah.
In this building, it was like late 70s, and they had all these kids at the top of this building that used to be a training center for dogs. I kid you not. They had all these like weird, like concrete, like dog houses at the very top of the building. And it was so weird and so gross. And, we had no one looking after us. It was just a disaster.
So you thought it was kind of exciting to be leaving that and then going to Florida, maybe a little to like, said it's actually, Florida is so fun.
I left Mexico, and my parents left the Sea Org things to me at 5 because I ended up drinking paint thinner and almost killing myself. And they had to take me to the hospital, and my mom was obviously nowhere to be found. And my mom freaked out. She's like, oh my God, my son almost died. And then that's what made them blow. Then they got declared suppressives. And then L. Ron Hubbard died in 86. So they were roped in with an amnesty. Oh, come back. We're going to forgive your suppressive status. So they got roped back in. Then my dad went to Clearwater to start doing his auditor training because they never wanted to go back to the Sea Org after they were there with me. My parents were like, no, the Sea Org's not for us. So they wanted to just be public from then on, right? So my dad goes to Flag to do training. I get to 7th grade. I finish 7th grade. And that's when they go, oh, let's go to Florida. We're just going to go there for the summer, we were told. I had just finished school. So I'm like, oh, that's great. We're going to do a summer in Florida, Disneyland, the Fort Harrison, the pool, the hotel. Again, for people in the back
pictures
still don't get that this is a goddamn hotel with a pool, with rooms, with people checking in, with luggage, the whole 9 yards. So there I was stuck at that hotel from hell. And, then they took me out of school and said, you don't need to go to school. You're so good at doing courses. You now need to become an auditor. So I was mortified. I didn't want to not go to school because I was like embarrassed that I wasn't going to even finish high school. I'm like, how embarrassing to be like, I always thought like as an older person, if them said, what's your education? I'm like, nothing. But
Right.
again, I did the courses, the stupid auditor courses, and
But so then you were saying something earlier about that when you were going to do auditing and stuff, you were just kind of telling your friends, oh yeah, I'm going to school out here and stuff, right? You were kind of not telling them what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few friends back in Mexico, but I just slowly lost touch with all of them. And then there was a whole bunch of kids, as we all know, at these hotels. So then you felt like, well, it has to be kid friendly. I mean, you guys were all among kids, right? We all were among kids. That's what normalized all of this disgusting brutalities. Because it's like, Laura, you're going in session. Sam, you're going in session. I'm going in. We're all going in session. We're all doing this. Like, nothing raises a red flag. And, apparently only if you so-called don't apply the technology, then that's where everything goes bad. But again, it's like, it's such a ridiculous, stupid facade, everything. So like,
I really want to emphasize that it took me a while, even Serge, like even when you were processing it, I feel like I was processing that idea even with you. Like, as you were processing it and kind of speaking it out loud, I was going, yeah, like the truth is we're all just in a role play. Every house cleaner, every cleaner, we're all Sea Org members though. And we're all doing the fucking same thing. And we're all being mentally trapped in this system where we have a muster, we have a schedule, that this is the only world. There's no other world in terms of this world unless it's talking about people coming in because they're so amazed by Scientology's technology. So it's just like constantly, like there's no other way to explain it other than us doing multiple YouTube videos of all this fucking nonsense.
Well, and like, the role plays, I mean, this was not...
The role plays and there's a role play for everything.
They called it, we're going to give you your hat.
And your job, your hat, your post.
What is the role that you're going to play in this hotel? And, the problem with this role play is it's a role that you were expected to be in 24/7, 365. Like you never went back to any other identity. Now Sam was the ethics filing IC, blah, blah, blah. Like anything that went wrong with those files, Sam was going to hear about it. And even though he was 12 years old, oh, this backlog and you haven't figured out a way to fix it. Like, how you have no initiative, you have nothing. Like, what the hell are you doing? We're going to have to bypass you. It's like, how? And this was normal. I mean, this was like your senior doing their job. And again, going back to this like slave, subculture, like slave and master, they called it senior and junior, but we were these people's full-blown slaves, modern day slaves. I mean, how else would you describe it, Sam? I mean, I welcome another perspective.
Yeah, I know, obviously that word is loaded, so
it's hard. It's hard, but we had no autonomy. We had to call people sir that had no authority over us other than working at that hotel. Like it doesn't make any sense. And how were we stripped of every last right we had, not paid, and forced to do whatever they told us to do with us having no way to say no? It's like, what else can you call that? Like a worker, a volunteer?
Yeah, no, it is a form of a slave, yeah, I mean, it definitely, like, I had no autonomy and no recourse, like I also didn't have I didn't have my passport or green card when I was at Flag. I'm assuming that was similar for you.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, the passports and the green cards, as that was like a prevention from us blowing, right? Because every time someone left without, permission, we all became aware. We all were told that person was humiliated. We all didn't want to ever be that person that left because we all heard how they were spoken about once that happened.
Yeah.
That was
Also, I think, sorry, my apologies for interrupting. Like the pressure of like if you do leave, yeah, if like, and if you somehow get declared, like then you can't talk to your family, you know. So it's like, because technically we were allowed to leave as long as we did it like through the proper route lines. Otherwise, we would be declared. But the thing is, I tried to leave 3 times. Like I was on the route lines 3 times. So it's, you know, in a way, you're not really free to go, especially when they say like I was put on a non-interb order, so my family was threatened, you know, like, or they're threatening the contact of my family. That's ultimately what happened. Like
100%.
my mom doesn't talk to me and my brother. They cut ties.
Mhm. Well, and the other thing about that, Sam, that just to pull a little bit back the curtain on the fact that, you did say, oh yeah, you could leave it. You went through the proper lines, right? But even
Technically, you know.
that, those proper lines, you guys, like for me, it included washing bathrooms with muriatic acid for 6 months. These were like deterrent. They were, and you said you tried to leave 2-3 times, and then they would
three times. Yeah.
they were double down on their sadism. Like this is called sadistic, being sadistic. Like they had no reason to be doing these to us after we worked 24/7, 365 for them, made them so much money. I mean, I was bringing this up with somebody else, for example. It's like when I every week I would make like 50, 60, $90,000 for these people at the age of 15 years old. Like what kind of 15 years old makes 50 that much money for an organization? Like I cannot even think of an example of how that could even be possible.
Like unless you're like a young Lil Bow Wow, or young star in a very open, popular record label company. There's no other.
Sure, but I mean, they're making money for themselves, right? I mean,
right. That's
again,
what I mean.
Like here, the 90 grand, nothing of that came to me. All of that came for them.
Well, there is the 10% FSM fee, right? Or you.
But that's not applicable to if you're a slave.
That's not what I'm talking about. No, but I'm just saying. So even for Scientologists, that there is an incentive for just regular Scientologists, not Sea Org members. Sea Org members, anyways, for regular Scientologists, like Grant Cardone gets paid probably a higher number, but 10% of any Scientologist that's new, or any Scientologist that he has brought in for the rest of their Scientology career on any course or any auditing that they pay money for. It doesn't matter what that auditing is for. Sex trafficking, giving off your pedophilic fucking withholds, whatever. Grant Cardone gets 10% of that. And he's just one of them. There's a definite scheme machine that's actually tied into this, whether you are a pedophilia or somebody who molested or raped somebody or not yourself. You are definitely okaying and supporting this whole thing. This machine, you're giving you're giving them the bail, the bond money.
Well, and Sam, one of the things that I've said before to describe this is we were adulticized as children, and all of the adults self-infantilized because they were acting like literal children, pretending, oh, let's play the game, let's do this, let's do that, isn't this great? And they're actually acting like imbecile, infantile idiots running around pretending that, oh, this is all valid, this is so great, this is so wonderful. Why? Because L. Ron Hubbard wrote it in a book, and the book is disgusting. And again, it's like nobody understands how much went into those books to falsely pitch a different idea, because the people that get trapped on this are stuck in a cycle of abuse that they cannot see outside. They literally, once they're in, they're just circling around until they sink or swim. Some of us, like, she was just sharing, she had a psychotic break. It's like, that's been so common for all of us. We've all had breaking points. We've all hit different rock bottoms, and we all have, struggles, because I mean, who gets help by being abused 365? Like nobody comes out of that okay. So it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to acknowledge what took place. We're not some, like, we've literally climbed out of this hole. And I think, you know, I mean, I think it's great, Sam, that you're coming here and sharing your experience, and Lara sharing hers, and we're all sharing what happened there, you know, because at the end of the day, like, I feel like we have to be the change we want to see, and we need to make the points we wish somebody would have been making for us as we were trapped at the hotel. You know what I mean? It's like, what adult?
And for us, it's the cadet org. You know, Serge was trapped in the hotel.
Well, no, but he was at the Fort Harrison, like, you know.
Oh,
it's
but
like
yeah.
hotels and commercial buildings. It's like, yeah,
I was
sure.
saying for
Some
me
of
and
them are
Sam,
not
and for the
hotels,
cadet,
granted, yep, sure. Some
for the
of them
cadets,
are in
for the
hotels. Some of
cadets.
them are just a commercial building, but it's the
No,
same
I would
intent
say
and purpose.
everything, all of them, like all, even
Same
the AO or the whatever you want to call down here in LA. Okay, it's not a hotel. You're not going to call that a hotel because it looks more like a big office building. Then it's a big office building. Like, that's what they're trying to portray it as, is what I was getting to. So, like, if it doesn't look like a hotel because you're not in Clearwater, Florida at the Sandcastle or at the Fort Harrison, and it looks more like the AO, you know, foundation, then that's what it is. It's meant to look like some business building, but it's meant to look like something that it's not. And that is what's happening. It's literally what's happening. Nobody actually on the outside knows what's going on in the Fort Harrison Hotel or the AO auditing rooms, right, Sam? Do you remember, like, I know you were a tech page when the AO auditing room, when they were getting crazy with cameras in every single corner of that brand new AO when they were just building it. And it was, and how much we had to clean all those auditing rooms to get for the new OT7 fucking the completions coming in. We were doing that as new cadets, being like, wow, the OT7s need to have a white gloved room.
I was a tech page for AO5, and that's where the OT7s OT7, they're like solo auditing, so they're auditing themselves, but they have to come in, you know, every now and then and get like audited, you know, and they did that at AO, the advanced org, and 5, that's just, you know, we you know, they had HGCs, Hubbard Guidance Centers, and we were HGC 5, I believe, on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, so again, it's like, you know, all these public were on OT7, especially, were adult grown men and women that had not a shred of concern that Sam was there being a slave, doing all the things for them. I mean, they all
And then
know
while he
how
was
this
doing
goes.
that,
Like, you guys, they don't make it a secret that a Sea Org member works day in and day out. They glamorize it, right, with all this like false glamour. Oh, so it's so great, he's saving the
and
world. But it's
achievements,
so,
like, you've achieved the state of clear, you have achieved
so ridiculous,
OT1.
and it has nothing to do with reality, and it has nothing to do with the facts, and it has nothing to do with the law, and it has nothing to do with like children being used in ways that are 1,000,000,000% unacceptable. And they've only gotten away with it because they've never been called out, you know. And again,
the
it's
kids,
like,
the voices who have been trying to say it either get shut down or they give up because they can't do it anymore, and they're not here with us.
it's who's the voice of this, right? Like, we've been dehumanized by Scientology, and then even coming out as advocates is like, it's not like the media's done us any favors. Like, we've been commoditized, exploited, and nothing has been done to help kids, is what we're so literally enraged about. Like, literally, how many years have we left? And everything that happened to us is happening to another child as we speak, as we sit here on this live talking about this. And that's why we're having to come to these YouTube spaces, because you know what this is? There's been a community of people that are engaged, that are in the know, and that want to help us. And we trust that this is the way. Like, this is the only way. You know, we tried every other thing and nothing worked. But you know what? This is working because we're getting to people that are intelligent, that do care about kids, that aren't going to just sit there and listen to BS talking points that are just, you know, sanitized, so that these people can continue operating their hotel and everyone can continue to, you know, be like the status quo can just continue to go. And L. Ron Hubbard, no one criticizes that man, even though he's the reason that all of this abuse took place. And it wouldn't have been available for any of us. We all would have had a normal life had they not 1993 than this religious BS that they did, right? Because that's when the actual government co-opted themselves to become an L. Ron Hubbard enabler. So as much as the government tries to be like, oh, we don't know anything about this, it's like, you know what? You do know a lot about this. And you know what? That little IRS, deal that you did with them where they get to give you 20 grand to get asked about felonies and float them away. How's that working out for you, IRS? Because if you don't know what we're talking about, then you don't know what the hell you
Is going on.
approved.
Yeah, you don't know.
To just operate without any oversight from the government, because God forbid we insult these people's religious what? Like, again, it's like we've been like on this circle of gaslighting, and it's like, the only saving grace about this is that, we're not going to be gaslit again, and we're not going to be
Ever on
gaslit
anything.
for the benefit of those kids. You're not going to sell us on what you did to us was okay. Like, this is not going to work anymore. Like, we have matured. Our naivete was ripped away. That's fine. But you know what? We now have the facts on our side, and we are going to continue speaking on these facts, because it is unthinkable that all of this happens and nobody's willing to call it out. It's just unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sam, you and Serge, what was your post again? So what was your main post? Was just the tech page or the filing, and then you became a tech page, right? At the AO?
Yeah, after I did the EPF Cat B, because I wanted to leave the
Right.
Sea Org.
And then that's right. I remember that. So you wanted to leave the Sea Org, and then what was the thing that made you stay? I'll say what the three things each time were that made me stay. But do you remember what was the final? I remember. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, just
with you. I was gonna say I remember one time. I think I even helped convince you to stay. I was like, Sam, let's just go do the EPF.
That's right, possibly.
I remember doing that. I don't know if it was the second time I was trying to leave, or maybe it was that time.
And did you end up leaving? Like, did you convince me to stay and then you left, or was that the second time? Maybe when.
The third time I left. That was the second time. And I was like, fine, I'll go back. Sam's fun. Like, we had a lot of fun. I remember that.
Yeah, because I remember deciding to come back or to try again, because like I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a job in the flag service org. So because I worked. Oh no, sorry.
In flag crew.
Like exactly.
Like a more estates physical job.
Yeah.
Instead of like a service, like, hello. Oh wait, I was gonna do the hello and welcome to Flag, the top training and auditing. What is that? The top. Like that. It said. Do you realize that it says that the top training and processing org of the world? So they're not stating that comment in like the outside world. They're saying in our
Beautiful
world
flowers.
we're the top. Yes. Hi, Serge. You're muted. You're muted. Honey, you're muted.
I have to go.
Don't say bye to us when you're muted. Okay, bye, Sergi. Thank you for being here so much.
It was good
Love
talking
you.
to you, Sam, and seeing you. And I'm really, really proud of you for being here with us, and for everyone that's here with us. And thank you so much.
And we're closing up now too. Me and Sam and Serge. Thank you for jumping on. That was so sweet and perfect. And where are you going with those flowers? Just putting them in a vase? Okay, cute. Okay. Come see our show July 20th at LCID, our live amazing pop, rock, whatever you want to call it. Our therapy, our therapy for everybody. LARA FM live at LCID on Sunset, and we go on at 6:30 p.m. And you can find all the tickets and everything through my website right here, lara.fm. And that's all we have to say about that. It's going to be a dope show. I'm so fucking excited. I'm so excited. I'm always so excited to do a show. But okay, good. Sam, it's you and me now, baby. Should we run through some questions on this cadet chit chat? There's so many questions, I'm sure. And a lot of people have been hanging in, and this is so dope. Cool. Sam, you're on. You're muted. You're definitely muted. So all your excitement.
My bad. You guys just missed some gold. I was like really saying.
Yeah. What were you saying? I wanted to hear
it. No, I'm just playing. I haven't been reading any of the comments because I can't see them, but that's cool with me. So yeah.
How do you? I wonder how. Anyways, I'll figure that out later.
Yeah. No, you're
I'm
good.
able to show you. How am I able to show you? Maybe.
Well, just do what you're doing, where you pull it up on the screen for everyone else. I don't need to. You know what I mean? So you're good.
Oh, you mean, okay, so let's go down and then I'll pop up question and so we can both know what we're talking about. Okay. I'm going to run down stuff. Sarah, there's a bunch of some things for Sarah and stuff. So, and some.
Do you want me, should I pretend that I'm Sarah? And no,
no. The original, but yeah. Oh, I don't know. I feel like this is so long already. I never knew it was going to go this long. So I feel like actually what I'm going to do is I will do the Q&A on the next episode. I will pull up all the questions that were asked that I feel didn't get answered, because I know we probably answered a lot of questions just from us talking and stuff like that. So I was just seeing if there's any last ones right here before we go on. Yeah, would like to hear Sam talk more about his childhood upbringing. So you went from Australia to the Int Ranch, right? Oh, sorry, Australia to CEO ATA, and then Int Ranch. Oh, Pack Ranch, then Pack Ranch, and then Int Ranch.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in a way more of a pack rancher. You know, like okay. I know, Catherine, obviously in her book.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. You know,
it's pretty fucked up, Sam. That you're calling yourself not an Int Rancher. No, but that's true, because you were only at the Int Ranch the last few years of the Int Ranch.
I was there for
before we got shipped off, the last 3 years, right?
I was there for like 1 year.
Yeah. Okay. So then you were at Pack Ranch, then Int Ranch, and then Clearwater, right?
Yeah.
And then you left the Sea Org from Clearwater?
Yes. And the reason like my sister and brother didn't come up with me, like the whole time my mom was like, oh, we're all going to be a happy family up lines. And then, my dad wasn't qualified, and then they got divorced.
Do you know why, or do you want to say why?
I don't want to get into that.
Okay, whatever. So he wasn't qualified, and then so they were basically saying your mom has to. Yeah. But they were saying your mom has to stay in LA. No. Well, they were saying your mom and dad can still be married, but your mom is the only one who can make it to gold.
Yeah, she was already at gold. That's the thing, is like.
Oh, he was trying to get to gold, and then they found out he wasn't qualified.
So they divorced. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
I thought that I was trying to hold the hopes that maybe they were still married. Yeah. That's so funny.
No,
Okay, so whatever. So they divorced. Not whatever. I'm just saying, let's not let Lara's emotions get in the way of this. So they never let your dad up to gold?
No. So It was like right away there was like cracks in the perfect plan of like having us all be one happy family up on gold base with my mom, because she came out to LA first and then got recruited. She did the paintings for the L. Ron Hubbard Life exhibition. She's a great artist.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I do remember that. That's crazy.
So they kind of sucked her in and recruited her into golden era productions up in the Int base.
So when she went to gold, did she already know that she was going to divorce your dad?
No.
It was while she was at gold. It was like, oh, okay, you can't make it here, so we just have to. I'm going to be here at gold forever, so now we have to get divorced.
Yep. I mean,
they're not ever coming here.
Yeah, there's probably more to it, like even including like the reason why he was
totally, and I think I might know. Yeah. But what I guess I wanted to show is that what if you're approved to go to gold base, it's more of a priority that you were approved to go to gold base, and if your husband or spouse, if your spouse isn't qualified, you are getting a divorce.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, so I just wanted to pop that. And so then so they got a divorce, but then, so you stayed mainly down in the Pack base, and then you went to the Int Ranch, right? And then to Clearwater, and then you left the Sea Org from Clearwater.
Yes, correct.
Cool. Good. Well, there you go, Miss Love Sherlock. They're like, let me talk. I am like, you keep talking, man. I love it. I wish you could see, because then you could help me. I just don't know how to do it, and I don't want to spend my time figuring it out, because then that's just really annoying for people.
Like kind of what comments you want to like isolate.
Right. I bet you would be like, oh, here's a good one. And I'm like, oh, and I don't think it's a good one. So whatever. Here, what does this say? Scientology has a presence here, though, as I'm learning. And when I go on a deep dive, giddy up and watch out. She's that's cute. I think they're being cute, right? Here, I'm just going to pop things up, and then you can. What is this?
Toby Mac?
They must be chatting about something in the channel. See, this would be cute for somebody. Goldie, where's everybody putting the cue? So let me just tell you, by the way, when you're watching an LFM TV video on YouTube, you must put question or a big capital Q in the comments, ... and then ask your question. So then I can scroll through the chit chat. That's what this episode is called. That's funny. I can scroll through the chit chat, and I can actually answer questions, because I do want to answer questions. We're not here to just be like blue, blue, blue. We're here to chit chat, but we also want to chit chat about the right things. So see, now I'm seeing some questions. Kids don't. Oh, there's what's that? Kids don't have full autonomy or rights until 18. They have adults making their decisions. Yeah, but also in the Sea Org and Scientology, it was also like we just knew the dumb rule of the WOG world is that it is 18, but we're small, beautiful, big we're small bodies, but we're big spirits and thetans. So this rule is useless, and it's annoying, and it's dumb that we have to listen to the outside world on this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like it was not at all important, and even if it was important, we were never given the guidance or the reason for that, because they don't want us being educated on the outside world. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, they kind of wanted us to learn and know history in some degrees and some math and some of this, just to be able to work as a functioning Scientologist. I would be able to expand Scientology and the outside world into Scientology. Right?
I think being a child was an excuse, or like saying
right. It's
the child
like
was
you're weak. Right.
Well, it's like, well, you're in, obviously in how they thought, not, they're not saying this from myself, but they're like you've already lived many lives, so you've been an adult, and you've been, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? So you're not like really a kid, I guess, is what they're kind of getting at.
Yeah. Okay. We got that. Oh, I guess, it's so annoying. I wish that there was a little side button on the right to the comment, so I can keep scrolling through the other questions without going back to unclick it. Okay. Thank you. That would be for StreamYard. Okay. This is fun to look the same. Look at Sam just short adult. There's no kids. Such BS. Yeah. Sam's just a small adult. He's not a kid. He's just a small body. He's not. There are some questions, but I don't want to sit here wondering where all the questions. So I'll scroll through that later. We've been going on for fucking 3 damn hours. Wow. I mean, good for us and good for our scroll. Not too bad. That's super fun. I just want people to keep up with our chit chatting.
I'm glad. Oh no, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. You're glad.
No, I'm just glad that you suggested being on here. Like, I consider you a good friend, and so yeah.
Chill. Hell yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for being on this. We're gonna wrap it up, guys. I'm definitely having Sam back on here with us. We're gonna chit chat some more. Maybe there'll be Cadets chit chatting part 2. And also, if you're a cadet out there and you want to chit chat with us, please message me. Please just be ballsy enough and send LARA FM a little message. There's the website with all of my media, outlets or whatever. And here's a phone number and a text line. If in case you want to give me information and you don't want me to know who you are, you can always just leave a message or send me a text anonymously, and I will definitely not give out your information or anything. And specifically, if you say, do not say that, but I want you to know this, and whatever, you can text, call this anytime. If we don't answer, leave a message and we will get back to you right away. Also, leave a message with any details in case you are like leaving the Sea Org or something. We can transfer you to the Aftermath Foundation or anything that they can easily help to get you out. So yeah, there you go. Boo, boo, boo. If you're on Instagram, yeah, go ahead, Sam.
Thank you. I had an idea, like, and it's something I've, thought about for a while, but just never, actually got around to doing. But I was like, especially nowadays, I'm traveling, I mean, within the States, a bit more, like going to different states. And so I see, sometimes, like I was in Colorado and saw a couple friends from the Pack Ranch that I haven't seen in forever. And so I've always like wanted to like kind of have like a little interview but in person, and not live, just like hanging out, maybe having a beer or something, you know what I mean? And just shooting the shit and so I might do that, like just little, YouTube videos. But
I love that. Sam, will you tell me what is it again? Silver. So it's at Silver. I'm typing it in. What is it again? So sorry.
My email?
No, sorry. Your handle is
Yeah, it's like, I think because shit, I don't even remember what it is. So like because there's some numbers. So that's something I can
hold on, everybody. I want you to follow Sam. He's gonna put up some cool stuff soon. Trust me, there's every person that I have here on my channel that's watching the show and everything, all y'all, the people, they kind of do know this, but these people that do come up, I'm pulling them up because they're amazing. They have great stories. They've been through the similar shit that I've been through, and now we're all like doing cool, artistic, like either healing physically, bodily, with Sarah Seltzer and her therapy, like in her way and what she's doing. Sam, I want people to know your YouTube. So when you do put whatever you do put up, I mean, the people love it. They're connected with us. Like it's a whole community out here. So, and I did screenshot your YouTube thing. So I want to make sure I put it out there. So,
and so I guess, and I'm kind of throwing out that idea just because that's something I want to do. I think would be cool. And maybe
it is cool, Sam. And
like if there's any cadets out there that like would be open, because that's the tricky thing is I know everyone, but it's like, I haven't talked to a lot of people in a while, and also it's like, are they open to talking publicly? So I guess
that's the whole thing, Sam. This is why I'm doing the YouTube. But I mean, I also I know your perspective of how you are out when we're camping and how you film and stuff like that and just having a good time. And like,
exactly,
the sad thing is that our friends that are coming out slowly, this is how they do come out. They're like camping with us and they will tell us beforehand, like, oh, we don't want to be filmed or recorded. You know what I mean? And we're like, cool, no problem. I totally get it. Like, but then even that is the healing that they can say, don't do this until I say, like,
on their terms, so.
But no. But what I'm saying is Sam is definitely somebody, I found your thing. Sam is definitely somebody who you would want to go camping with and have a few beers. And you aren't judgmental. You are there to hear and listen and totally hear all the views. And I really respect and love that. I've had so much good, deep talks with you.
Yeah, and I feel like things will naturally come up, so it's almost like you don't even need to push any like subject, sometimes when we're like meeting up, with old friends, old Int Ranchers.
Yeah, you kind of just there's no reason to like. There is no reason. It's just like, all right, let's just talk. It naturally, just naturally does come up. Okay, so I found your thing, and it's at Sam. So everybody, y'all, follow my friend Sam Francis here. I'm gonna put it up
And I'm not doing that yet, so but hopefully soon.
It doesn't matter. The whole point is you get like Serge has followers before he's ever even posted videos. Like, so
Right.
it's fine. People are getting, they just want to know. They're like, hey, there's a new person to follow that's talking and exposing Scientology's crap and talking about the actual shit that happened as children and cadets and all that, and just having a conversation about it where it was always hidden from us.
Yeah.
So now we're doing that. Okay, so now I'm typing, sorry, I'm going back and forth on screens, so it's like hard. So Sam Francis YouTube handle is Sam Francis, okay, I'm gonna put it up right now. Sam, you gotta remember this shit. Your handle is
I'll make a better name.
No, but this is your handle, so people know. It's very simple.
Yeah.
On YouTube, his handle is Sam Francis 2398. Did I type that in right? 2398. Yeah. And that's exactly how you'll find him. He has a cool little video. Sam also plays cute music and guitar and amazingness. So there you go. There's Sam. And is there anything else, Sam? You're gonna come and be part of maybe we're gonna do another cadets chit-chatting in like a day or two. And we'll add some more people to the roster, as we shall say.
Yeah, as long as it's, oh no, for me, I got a wedding on the 15th that I am going to as a guest.
No, that's amazing. Perfect. No, that's perfect. So I'm just saying, well,
married, no. At the moment. I'm
you're like, I want to be married someday. So yeah, we'll be back and we'll have more cadets. And this was so fun. And even having you here, Sam, is super cool for other people to be like, oh my God, that's Sam Francis. Or that's Megan. Wow, she actually is being real. She's saying what it is, you know? It's just what it is. And just to be casual and normal.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And it's just like, don't say it's not. Like, that's unhealthy. It's unhealthy for the brains that are like holding all this denial. It's just like, come on, stop it. Go listen to a good band like LARA FM and just open your mind and listen to what we're saying. We're not trying to attack anybody. We're saying what it is. We're saying how it is. And what happened created a lot of damage and it needs to be addressed. That's all there is to it. I'm so fucking proud of you, Sam. I love you so much. My heart loves and protects your soul. You're so cool for doing your path and the way you came out and how you're talking now. And I'm also so proud of Miriam. I'm so proud of Catherine. I'm so proud of Sina. I'm so proud of everybody that I love so much. We're out and we're like, even days we suffer through shit. I'm just so proud of us. I'm like, look, I'm just so happy you're not in there, right?
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
So Sam, love you so much. Everybody follow Sam. Let's give him a bunch of subscribers. That would be cool, Sam. Let's everybody go and go to search on YouTube at Sam Francis 2398 and it will pull him up to pull you up to his account. He's got a few cute little just adventure kind of camping videos and a guitar. I love it. And he's going to put more soon. So stay tuned. Stay motherfucking tuned. And I might do a random cadets. I think this is gonna be a theme, by the way, because while we're talking, I got a message on the next episode.
Ooh,
this is going on way too long.
From someone we know?
Yep. And they also were like, oh, I would love to be speaking. Yeah. So this I'm like getting excited right now to like, oh my God, we're gonna do cadets chit chat number 2. But we were the first cadets chit chat number 1. I like that too so much because I love our friends. I love our friends from even though we were raised in a prison. Like it's kind of like I remember my friends from prison. It's kind of like that, you know.
Yeah, I could probably check with a couple of people, you know, if like maybe I'll bring
Sammy. Like I said, if you're watching. Anybody wants to talk out or chat with me or they're okay with just being open or you think, oh, Lara's not going to talk to me. No, that's wrong. I want to talk to you. Call me. I'm a very cool, open person. I can deal with uncomfortable situations or give me the time and space, but I will. So just hit me up. No problems. The best way for you to hit me up is to not bang on the mic, but to just go to that website. I'm working on it. I work on my website all the fucking time. but just go to the website, and there's always Instagram, email, the phone number, like all my info to send anything or to plan anything with me is there. So, or just hit me up. Be like, yeah, I want to do it. Let's go. All right, Sammy Sam, should we send them out with our closing SPTV?
Let's do it.
Magical exit.
For sure. So good
See you
talking
soon.
with you.
You too, Sam. You, I'm gonna have you back very soon, and with multiple people. Thank you for being a true hero on the first number 6 episode of Cadets Chit Chatting.
Thank you for having me. Maybe next time I won't be in a car.
It doesn't matter. It sounded perfect. So good. In fact, it might have been the best thing. It was like, nobody's distracting you. It's perfect.
I will be in my car. No.
In my car where I feel safe.